fate is before you. Choose wisely.
Why are you destroying our planet?
I have no choice.
When you date a woman and she may be a potential wife, it's a competition thing all the way. I can't take it no more.
They feel propped up because they feel more beholden to the government. And then their man comes second. That's why they figure that they're strong, independent, don't need no man, because they have the government.
Because the men are failing us, to be honest. Guys thinking about themselves, and they'll think about you after you react.
You don't hear anything about being good wives and all the other stuff. What you hear is you strong and you independent. You can do it on your own. You got black girl magic, black girl rock, but you ain't said nothing about black family.
My mother is like what they consider to be the strong black woman. I feel like I projected that onto the guys that I dated.
Ladies have no idea how stiff their competition really is. You have no clue how black men are viewed in the rest of the world. We are the #1 most sexually desired man on the face of this planet.
They would call Jesus Dusty if he was here living in America because of the gross narcissism that a lot of our women have.
Okay, I know.
I got an itch in my palm. My girl, she know she the one. I put the ice on her hand. I put some ice on her arm. See me shining in the light. Know you found me in the dark. Talking how you wanna leave. Girl, you made this far. Taking trips overseas. No, I won't be long. We came up from the weeds. Now it's top floor. All these big yes on her wrist. VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down broke, now we rich. Spend it on a let it spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her cause she all mine. Spend it on a challenge cause she all mine. There for my first cake, then we hit 100K. $500,000 on the way, then $1 million on the way. Eating good full plates, eating good say grace. Eat her up, get thanks, she got cake birthday. I can't waste no way, I can't waste no play. My girl, whoa, whoa, something like the baddest chick. My girl, whoa, whoa, came from the rags to rich. Hit the road running, I had to tell her I had to get it. She understood, but she spoiled, so when she get mad, she dip. All these big yes on her wrist, VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down broke, now we rich. Spend it on a let it spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her cause she all mine. Spend it on a challenge cause she all mine. All these big yes on her wrist, VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down broke, now we rich. Spend it on a let it spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her cause she all mine. All these big yes on her wrist, VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. Spend it on a challenge cause she all mine. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend.
Pain. I've been there. Locked up inside my head. Broken from fear, illusions, disappointment, and hopelessness. Who heard me in my silence, where being a man means nothing? Despair. I've been there too. Desperately seeking answers for the questions associated with manhood. Hills and valleys, too bleak to compare. Stress. Suffering in a utility silo. No comfort, no security. No freedom, no justice. Just do it for others. Challenges. Who will help me break the challenges? Lost in the vortex of darkness, hopelessness, fear, and abandonment. I've been there too. I've been there too. Take the next step to your destiny. Join me in this fight. Walk forward. Deep breaths. Head held high, men. Come join me, men, in the winds of time. Stories, hopes, visions, purified in the fire. I'm not a superhero. And I'm not the Reverend Knight. I'm here to help you. Join me, men, in this fight. Break the chains of your mind. Let's do it now. For now is all we have. Fire for your mind. The kosher clinician.
All right, guys. We're going to start in a minute. And the topic of the show is called Rise of the Simp Surfer. The question remains, guys, as it relates to a new term that I created called simp surfing is this. Is simp surfing a threat to male empowerment? I'm going to say it again. Is simp surfing a threat to male empowerment? You guys have seen it, and so have I. Anytime men come together proclaiming even a vestige of masculinity, it's always met with issues and it's always met with problems. It appears that men cannot come together and share and talk about their stories, their pains, their hopes, and their fears without someone saying, your mama's black, who hurt you, or you're bashing women. It's becoming, guys, in a time in this current world that we live in that truth is the new hate. You can say something and it could be standing on the principles of truth. But if a man or a woman get inside their feelings, they're not going to hear it. They can't hear it because they are deaf. And they are deaf, guys, because they deny the evidence. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They will argue, do ad hominem attacks. And sadly, guys, many times they will fight you or they will try to flee. And that's why the times that we're living in, guys, you got to save yourself, because if you don't save yourself, you're going to wreck yourself, because you're dealing with people that cannot see and hear what you're saying, because many are dealing with unresolved mental illness. So once again, the topic for today is Rise of the Simp Surfer. The Simp Surfer is a term that I created. And so if you hear anybody using this term in this space, know that I created first, and know that it's a part or a concept that I'm using to convey or more or less talk about the importance of male empowerment. Because see, if we're not empowering our men, then who's going to empower them? Male empowerment is important because for so long, many men have been told that they didn't have any worth. Many men have been told that they didn't have any value. And many men have been told that what they say does not matter at all. And you know, I was going to do this show, guys, on last night. Maybe I should have done it last night, but I was tired. I wanted to make sure that you guys got full clarity on the concept called the simp surfer. Because see, simp surfing is synonymous to a person surfing on the internet. What a simp surfer will do, and you guys have seen it many times, what a simp surfer will do, they'll go on spaces or they'll go in spaces, and what they'll do, they'll try to minimize what you are saying or try to shame you into one or two key talking points to get power and control over you. These men don't identify with men, but they identify with their matriarchal upbringing. They identify and think like women because these guys have been victims of negative socialization. That's why you got to be careful of the simp surfer, because see, the simp surfer does not understand principles that are synonymous to masculinity. And that's why you got to stand firm in your convictions. That's why you got to set boundaries. That's why you got to be king on your square. And that's why you can't let the simp surfer stop you guys from being a man. Because simp surfing is not only dangerous to the person that you are dealing with, but also it's dangerous to them. But they just don't know it because the only thing they've ever known is to affirm and to assuage their mothers. So guys, we're going to get into it. I'm doing a little something behind the scenes, so please bear with me because I got a cooking for you guys today. And we're going to have a powerful show on tonight. If all things go well, we're going to have Dre with Love Crossing Borders. And we're going to be talking about, guys, something, our American men becoming the new immigrants, our American men beginning to migrate. Our American men, guys, beginning to migrate. And I would say, yes, many are beginning to migrate and many are beginning to travel abroad because many are understanding that they can find love, hope, and respect in countries where the men are masculine and where the women honor and respect them as men. So guys, do me a favor, get the likes up, share this content. Maybe I should have started the stream around about 10 o'clock, but I'm grateful to the 10 that are in. And so guys, get the likes up, get the stream up. We're going to chop up in a couple of minutes. We're going to chop it up. But the question remains, once again, is simp surfing a detriment to male empowerment? And I would have to say, yes, simp surfing is a detriment to male empowerment because simp surfing thinks what it's doing is normal. Simp surfing is based on a man doing what's best for women. Simp surfing is based on men bound down to gynocrats and gynocentric thought and gynocentric thinking. Now, you guys see me. Y'all see me with this fine chocolate skin of mine. And we're going to have a powerful show in today because shout out to my man, Peaceful Life. That's my homie because I told Peaceful Life that I was going to do a show called Rise of the Simp Surfer. And you know, if you know anything about Marvel Comics, the Silver Surfer was a person that went or more or less traversed throughout the galaxies. And what he would do, he will absorb the energy of the universe that he's in. And see, what simp surfers do, guys, they seek to absorb the energy of masculinity. And see, instead of them absorbing the energy of masculinity and internalizing it as it relates to male empowerment, they absorb masculinity and use it against men to shame men into silence. And as the great Bishop Charles E. Williams said, y'all ain't gonna talk to me. And that's what simp surfing is. Simp surfers. You guys see it all the time. They constantly surf through and in, out the internet. Many times they are unconscious simps. And we got 3 that we're gonna talk about on today. Boyce Watkins is a simp surfer. Derek Jackson, or shout out to Peaceful Life, Derek Jenks, he's a simp surfer. But he's a conscious simp. He knows what he's doing. But he chooses not to adhere to a code called heteronormative masculinity. DJ Hughley is a simp surfer. Anytime men come together and begin to form a more perfect union, these simp surfers come to derail what men are trying to do, and they try to derail what men are saying. And many times, guys, simp surfers are byproducts of single raised, single mothers. They have enmity towards the fathers in their lives. They don't respect or honor men, and anything associated with masculinity, they look at it through the lens of disdain. And that's why simp surfing is so dangerous, because simp surfing seeks to derail or stop the flow of masculinity. Now, guys, get the likes up. If you're not donated to the channel, donate to the channel. I appreciate the guys that are watching, the 17 that are listening and watching. But if you like what I'm doing, share this content. Share it to at least 5 to 10 people. Once you share it, I need you to hit 10. Once you share the content, hit 10. If you have not donated, donate to the channel, because I got some fire for your mind on tonight. But the way, guys, you deal with a simp surfer is simple. You got to be like water. Like Bruce Lee said, you have to be like water. You got to be fluid when simp surfers, AKA trolls, come into these spaces trying to shame you out of your position as a man. You got to let it roll off your back like water rolls off a duck's behind. But also, guys, there's a time you got to be static, because once again, when water is at its highest pressure, water is a force. So you got to be either static or you got to be fluid. But either way, you got to be like water.
That's ISO?
Rack it up, I gotta build up the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees.
And you know, some of these guys are simp surfers, and as I said earlier, they don't even know that they're simp surfers. And you know, many times when these simp surfers come into male spaces, guys, this is what simp surfers, this is what they do.
These men are coming together. They must be stopped. Who hurt these petty fools? Their mama is black. Who hurt them? They must be gay. I must go cause confusion.
Yeah, and see, these simp surfers, guys, many times they seek to cause confusion, because they are deaf. You know, I told you guys before in the past, many women are deaf, but simp surfers are deaf too. Simp surfers deny that many modern women are the cause of a lot of issues that we're having in this country, but also in the community. Simp surfers become enraged when you present them with the evidence. See, y'all guys thought it was just a woman phenomenon, but no, it's not. Because see, being deaf is not only applicable to women, but also it's applicable to men. They become enraged when you present them with the evidence. They will argue to ad hominem attacks, meaning they will attack the messenger instead of the message. And many times, because he is a simp surfer, he will fight you or flee. Simp surfers are byproducts, guys, of cognitive dissonance, because they can't hear what you're saying. You can show them the evidence. You can present it to them in a very firm fashion. Because of this, they can't hear. Yeah. Simp surfing. You guys have seen them. As I said before in the past, they come on these shows. They get on their surfboard, and they surf the internet trying to cause chaos. They surf the internet trying to cause confusion. They surf the internet trying to shame you. And just like the Silver Surfer, which will more or less go throughout the chaos, many of these men go out to do out the chaos because they're trying to cause confusion, because, guys, they are simp surfers. And simp surfing is a detriment to the mental wellness and the mental well-being of all men. Because what it does, it seeks to derail male empowerment. And that's why you guys got to be on your square at all times, because true to the arrow to the top, the Silver Surfer can have two personalities. He can be the more benevolent one, but he can be the evil one. And we're going to talk about some of the characteristics and the powers of the simp surfer. But in the meantime, guys, once again, get the likes up, share the content. If you're not donated to the channel, donate to the channel, please. Donate to the channel. Donate to Cash App, $7 Smalls. If you guys have not donated, and we're gonna have a powerful show on tonight. But I wanted to do this show for you guys because simp surfing and simping should be part of the DSM-5 for mental illness. I would assert and guess that simp surfing and simping should be part of the DSM-5 because in my mind, it's a byproduct, guys, of mental illness. And this is what the simp surfer does when he go and causes chaos. Watch this.
Why are you destroying our planet?
I have no choice.
Yeah. And see, the simp surfer will tell you he has no choice. He thinks that he's supposed to cause chaos in male spaces. He thinks that, that men shouldn't have rights. He thinks that men should be subjugates of gynocrats. He thinks that anytime men begin to speak out and demand and affirm heteronormative masculinity, then it's a problem, because he said he have no choice because he's been programmed through negative socialization to cause chaos. You guys have seen it many times. I've seen it. Simp surfers cause chaos. And many of these people, guys, you see in these avatars, they're not women, they're men. They are broken men that hate masculine men because they internalize what their mothers told them about their fathers. That's negative socialization. And we're going to talk about it, guys, on today. We're going to talk about a clinical term called introjection, internalization, and the last stage is called identification. These are all negative socialization, or it can be negative socialization as it relates to masculinity. And that's what simp surfers are. They feel like they don't have a choice. Many of them need therapy. Many of them need help because they've never seen masculinity. They don't know what it looks like. They think what they're doing is normal because they're deaf. And when you try to teach them to the contrary, they'll try to shame you. I've seen it. That's why I said over and over again, simping should be a mental illness. Because what it does, it minimizes the power and the importance of masculinity. Once again, guys, there's a king in all of you. There's a king inside of you men that needs to be unleashed. But the power of being a masculine man, because every man has a king inside of him, whether it's at the micro level or the macro level, are hyena simps, and also female hyenas. They seek to derail and stop you from being the best version of yourself. But we're going to talk about it, guys. We're going to talk about the Silver Surfer because the Silver Surfer wields power cosmic, granting him superhuman strength, endurance, and sense, and the ability to absorb and to manipulate the universe ambient energy. And that's what simp surfers do. They destroy the energy of male unison. Many times when we having good conversation, you have a simp surfer come in. Sometimes it can be a woman too. And they'll try to destroy the unison or the energy of the conversation. They'll try to change the trajectory of the conversation. They'll start trolling the comments. They'll start saying, well, who hurt you? They'll start saying all kinds of goofy stuff because they are broken people and they don't want you to be liberated. Many have pain and hurt. Many have trauma. And what they do, they project their trauma onto you and expect you to become the recipient of their pain, even though you had nothing to do with it. Some of my greatest emissaries were men that were raised in single-parent homes. And I'm not saying that all men raised in single-parent homes are bad men. I'm not saying that. But see, when you don't see masculinity, you begin to think like a woman on the subconscious level. And sometimes you have a level of vitriol for masculinity and masculine men. And that's where the problem resides. I don't know who the heck is calling me at this time. It's going to have to wait. But once again, guys, I'm getting the likes up because we're going to have a good show today. Oh, man, you guys, y'all coming through. Y'all coming through, man. Shout out to my man, Peaceful Life. Man, my man Ingram showed me some love, man. yeah, Jay Perry, I didn't know you and Ingram showed me some love, man. So let me go ahead and do this, man. I appreciate that Jay Perry and my man, a Peaceful Life. I love you, brothers, man. And so, Ingram, right now, A Peaceful Life, that's my homie. The Peaceful Life, guys, he is And he is, and I appreciate that, brother. He is the new sponsor of the stream. Yeah, shout out to my man, The Peaceful Life. I appreciate that, homie. Much love and respect to that, bro. That's my brother. I got to get up to up top to see him soon, him and Top Gun. We're going to chop it up with my man, Ty. But, you know, me and Ingram, A Peaceful Life, talk all the time, man. And we talk about the pulse of the world today. And we're going to get right into it because, you know, A Peaceful Life talk about a term that he created called relationship capitalism. And simp surfers will try to derail you guys from relationship capitalism. They don't think you should have the best of the best. They don't think that you should have a good woman. They don't think you deserve a woman that don't have kids by multiple men. They don't think that you deserve honor and respect. Most simp surfers are the recipients of single parent homes. Therefore, they tend to get with women that got kids. If that's what they want to do, fine. But what I'm saying is that if there's a king in you and you work hard to become the man that you are, you should never have to settle for mediocrity. You should always raise the bar high, guys. You should always keep the bar high. We live in a time, guys, where the bar has been lowered. See, me and A Peaceful Life and a lot of the brothers that are listening, we're from Gen X. We're from the 90s. I came out of high school 89, 90. And so, you know, when we came out of high school, the stuff that you guys are seeing now, we didn't see it. If a woman had kids by multiple men, it was a stigma. We didn't look at them. We didn't even take them serious. If we know that a woman was getting it in, we definitely didn't take her serious. But now, because some of these boys have been raised in homes where they didn't see fathers that have masculine men, they tolerate mediocrity. In the meantime, shout out to my man, Jay Para. Shout out to that brother. Jay Para said, sending my copay. I appreciate it. And that's a deal, right? I appreciate it, Jay Perry. Much love and blessings to you. I appreciate that. Thank you, sir. And shout out to my man, Jay Perry, simp surfing. Yeah, man, they simp surfing, Jay Perry. I'm down laughing too. Yeah, they simp surfing. When you try to give them evidence to show them what true masculinity is, this is what they'll do.
Why are you destroying our planet?
I have no choice.
Yeah. They'll say they have no choice. You know, when men come in here and try to assail Dre, when men come in here and try to assail me and any other man that's trying to form a more perfect union, they'll say, well, you know, we got to do it because your mama's black. Who hurt you? You know, that's what they'll say because they don't identify with masculinity and principles. They identify with their feelings. Shout out to my man Dre from Love Crossing Borders with that $20,000 pesos. He's rich, man. I'm just a peasant, man. He hit me with the $20,000 pesos. Dre said there's always one simp surfer in every group. No doubt, Dre. It's always one. It's always a simp surfer in every group. And many times, guys, they surf in and out through all the internet trying to cause chaos. They try to cause confusion because they don't want to hear what men are trying to say. When Drake tells some of you guys that you can get better in other countries, y'all get mad at him. Y'all call him, me, and every other man that's trying to get you the best. Y'all call us out or call us names because you don't think you deserve any better. You don't identify with men. You identify with the gynocrats because you're in a matriarchy. And many of you guys have never seen true masculinity in its purest form. That's why you got to change the law in your mind. Shout out to Mr. Palmer. You got to change the law in your mind. And when they try to get you and more or less push you back in a negative state of contention, then you got to be like water. You got to use mental kung fu on many of these modern women and also these simp surfers and male hyenas. You got to use mental kung fu on them. Because if you don't use mental kung fu on them, watch this, they'll use mental kung fu on you. It's called reverse psychology. They will reverse the situation to make you think that something's wrong with you. It's manipulation in its highest form. And that's why I don't really deal with a lot of simp surfers. I don't be around a lot of men that are weak. Like I said, some of my greatest emissaries are men that were raised in single parent homes. And that's not here. I'm not here to disrespect men that were raised in single parent homes, but some of you guys are simps and you don't know that you're simps. And anytime masculine men try to guide you in the right direction, you attack them because you're projecting your pain onto those men. Now, let's go over and talk about who the Silver Surfer is, because it's going to make sense in a few minutes, guys. But I'm going to go do some of these comments. Shout out to all the brothers, man. Yeah, I try to get real creative, man. Simp surfing, yeah. A Peaceful Life said that they try to shame men who are free because their lives are in bondage. Yes, sir, you're right. You're right. Shout out, brother. He 1,000%, right? Their lives are in bondage. And, you know, it's true to what Harriet Tubman said, guys. Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed a lot more if they were not already slaves. You know, Top Gun called my man Dre Morpheus. He calls him Morpheus. Morpheus was a type of Harriet Tubman. And we're going to talk about it on tonight with Dre with Love Crossing Borders and another special guest. And we're going to talk about everything you need to know as you get ready to be part of the Great Migration. Everything you need to know as you begin to become part of the Great Migration, because a Great Migration is coming. It's coming, guys. And these men are going to create a whole new environment free of simp surfers. We're going to have simp surfer border patrols on the borders and make sure these simp surfers don't come in and cause chaos in the galaxy. Because, you know, these simps, that's all they do is cause chaos, man. You know, they cause chaos. And, you know, the simps are dangerous. They're very dangerous. You know, they'll kill you quick. They don't think nothing of it. They will kill you quick. That's why you got to be strapped. Because they think what they're doing is right. Just like what the Silver Surfer said. He said it better than me. He said, I have no choice. Once again, listen to what the Simp Surfer said. Listen.
Why are you destroying our planet?
I have no choice.
Yeah, he feels like he has no choice. And that's a thinking error. That is a thinking error called, I don't know if it's forecasting abroad, it's called catastrophizing. It's a thinking error. You know, catastrophizing thinks about the worst outcome instead of thinking about the best outcome. I'm going to say it again. Catastrophizing thinks about the worst outcome instead of thinking about the best outcome. And that's what simp surfers are. They don't see any positivity in men being men. They were the brunt of their mother's pain because simp surfers lived through vicarious trauma. They heard their mother saying your daddy won't ish. They heard their mother saying you look just like your daddy. They heard it, they heard it, and they began to internalize, guys, what their mothers were saying. Because they didn't think they had any value. They didn't think they had any hope. They didn't think they had any worth. And that's why they traverse in these other male spaces causing chaos. They begin to cause chaos because, as I said earlier, they don't identify with men. They identify with gynocrats. And many times, guys, you'll know that they identify with gynocrats because they'll be saying this when you try to call them on their BS. They'll bounce around and they'll get mad at you, and this is what they'll say.
Yeah, put chain on the walls on my mom. They be broken mom. Kill some of my mom. Bro, they back me like that's on my mom. That's on my mom. That's on my mom.
Yeah, it's on their mama. It's on their mama. When you call them out on their BS, they say, on my mama, man, I'm gonna kill you. On my mama, I'm gonna take you out. On my mama, I'm gonna destroy you. On my mama, watch. That's what they'll say because, they're conditioned. They're conditioned to be simp surfers. They're conditioned to cause chaos. They're conditioned to cause confusion because it's mental illness being manifest. And see, guys, when I try to convey the richness of clinical concepts, I use art and science. I use art and I use trends because true to what Jesus did, Jesus, when he spoke parable, he didn't speak in heavenly terms or celestial terms or ethereal terms, but he spoke in parable. He used stories to convey the richness of the truth. Because see, if I spoke in true clinical concepts, you guys would get bored out. So I had to use art. I had to use creativity to bring it to you guys so you can understand the dangers of simp surfing and also the dangers of mental illness and why mental wellness is so important. Simp surfing. You guys heard it from me first. If you hear anybody else using that term, you know they stole it from me. And we know some of these guys in these spaces will steal your terms and they won't give you credit for it. And they act like they are the originators of it. So if you hear anybody saying simp surf, I'm coming for you. You better damn it, make sure you give me credit for it because I do it. I give everybody credit if I use their concepts because that's the right thing to do. Another brother by the name of Edward Anderson talked about something guys called mentally transmitted diseases. And what simp surfers will do, they will try to infect you with mentally transmitted diseases. They don't want you guys to be happy. They don't want you guys to have hope. They don't want you guys to get the best based on what Peaceful Life talked about, relationship capitalism. But they want you to settle for the worst. Because as Peaceful Life said, many of these men are in bondage. They are slaves to their past. They are slaves to the trauma of their mother because once again, it's vicarious trauma. And they have a secret hatred for men. Boyce Watkins, as I said earlier in the show, is a simp surfer. Derek Jackson or Derek Jenks, he's a simp surfer, but he's a conscious simp surfer because he knows what he's doing. And D.L. Hughley is a simp surfer. Many of these guys are simp surfers. They're woke. They're woke men. They're woke. They are side with liberal policies and liberal ideas. Anything that's synonymous to true masculinity, they don't like it. Because masculinity is a principle. Masculinity is a standard. Masculinity holds them accountable. And they don't want to be around men when they be held accountable because they don't think like men, they think like women. Shout out to a couple of brothers. Let me read you some of the concepts. Detroit 313 said that's why they hate men for dating out interracially. Yes, sir. Because they start getting a picture where men who date interracial are smart than wifing up a single mother, no doubt. A Piece of Life said them simp surfers can try to derail all they want. Men have seen the light, no doubt. We travel, no doubt. And we got Morpheus that's helping us travel. Detroit 313 said that's why they're calling black men nakers for a reason, right? Yeah, they don't want to see you guys free. They don't want to see you liberated. They don't want me to talk about this message. Like I told you guys before, some of these simp surfers that you think are women, they're not women, they're actually men. I know that they're men because I know some of their talking points. And see, sometimes I let these goofballs, marinate. I let these goofballs marinate in their ignorance. But then after a while, I just go ahead and cut them off or boot them out, or I let my man Top Gun handle the dirty work. He gets rid of them and boots them out. Because see, masculinity is something that's needed. Men are beginning to wake up. It's one of the most powerful things in the world when men can come together and share their stories and share their pain and be unapologetically masculine in their pronouncements. And guys, because men are waking up, I told you guys I'm going to be part in the movie with Al Grease. As many men are getting degrees, many guys are beginning degrees and many guys are frustrated and many guys are beginning to do this.
When you date a woman and she may be a potential wife, it's a competition thing all the way. I can't take it no more.
They feel propped up because they feel more beholden to the government. And then their man comes second. That's why they figure that they're strong, independent, don't need no man because they have the government.
Because the men are failing us, to be honest. Guys thinking about themselves and they'll think about you after you react.
You don't hear anything about being good wives and all the other stuff. What you hear is you're strong and you independent. You can do it on your own. You got black girl magic, black girl rock, but you ain't said nothing about black family.
My mother is like what they consider to be the strong black woman. I feel like I projected that onto the guys that I dated.
Ladies have no idea how stiff their competition really is. You have no clue how black men are viewed in the rest of the world. We are the #1 most sexually desired man on the face of this planet.
They would call Jesus Dusty if he was here living in America because of the gross narcissism that a lot of our women have. About to drop soon. We about to drop frustrated soon with Al Grease. Now, I want to clarify something, guys. It's the simp surfer, not suffer. Y'all think it's suffer, not suffer. Like suffer, but surf. His name is a silver surfer, but many men are simp surfers. I call them simp surfers because they go throughout the internet, just like the silver surfer causing chaos. Surf. They have the moon board. They go out causing chaos. So they are surfing on the internet, and they use their surfboard to cause chaos. So just like a surfer is on a wave, the simp surfer is like the silver surfer because he causes chaos in the male galaxy. And that's why we got to do something to stop it. We got to do something to stop it because it's a direct affront to masculinity. But in the meantime, guys, man, y'all showed me some love this morning. England was the #1 sponsor as it relates to Super Chats, but we got a #1 sponsor as it relates to Cash App. Shout out to my man, Alton Prayer. Alton Prayer is showing love. Alton Prayer, let me tell you something about Alton Prayer, guys. Him, XL Pro, Peaceful Life, Top Gun, James Turner, James Miles, Andrew Baker, all of them always showing love, man. I'm forever grateful for you guys, man. You guys always come through, and there's so many more that I didn't call their names out. Andrew Baker, always showing love. So, guys, I'm forever grateful for what you guys are doing. But in the meantime, guys, we got a Cash App alert. And Alton Prayer, you are the #1 sponsor of the show.
It's the money.
Yeah, shout out to my man Alton Prayer for that $30 bomb. Appreciate it, brother. Much love and blessings to Alton Prayer. And also to all my clinicians that are listening on tonight. Because, see, the thing I know is about men that come to my space, they are very cerebral men. They're intelligent men. They're not goofy. They're not dusty. They're men that are trying to learn and change. And, I count it an honor to be able to facilitate change in dealing with such men and also such women because silver surfers are real. Silver surfers don't want you to realize you can get better. Silver surfers want you to be frustrated. Like Harriet Tubman said, as I said earlier, she said, I could free a lot more if they didn't already know that they were slaves. Many of them are slaves. They don't know any better. They think what they're doing is right, just like the Pharisees. The Pharisees thought they were right when they were trying to crucify the Messiah. They thought they were right. These simp surfers think they're right. When they try to silence you and shame you and tell you, you don't deserve better. You have these old goofy idiots that come on this channel sometime with avatars because they're cowards and clowns. Oh, you men, y'all are soft. Y'all don't know how to control y'all women. Why would a man put in the energy when the government doesn't have safeguards to back up bad behavior? In other countries, the government does not tolerate bad behavior. The communities does not tolerate bad behavior. We don't have what's called a kosher patriarchy. A kosher patriarchy is a patriarchy at the macro level. That's where policies are made, where all men benefit, white, black, or whatever. Then you got a kosher patriarchy at the meso level, which is the group level, which is the community. And then you got a patriarchy in the home, which is the micro level, where men run their homes. But, you got these goofballs to try to tell you, y'all are soft. Y'all are soft as dog manure because y'all don't know how to control y'all women. Goofy. And many times they send back hating because they want to come up with this PUA BS to try to, y'all don't have game. Who the hell needs game for some of these modern women? I mean, I could see if a woman was a quality woman and she was bringing some of value to your life. But most of these modern women don't add any damn quality for men. They could be overweight, ran through, but they say you got to use game. You got to know how to use game. And listen, I get it. We know that sometimes game is necessary to a degree. But by and large, it's a waste of time to use game. Men that grew up in the 90s and some of the boomers, we didn't mind serenading women. Some would say it was simping, but I don't know if it's necessary simping. It could have been seen as simping to some degree. But the women had redeeming value in the past. They were still sneaky and they did stuff on the low, but they were not as bad as women now. We used to love to write women poems and love songs and writing letters because they had a level of redeeming value. They weren't perfect, but they had more redeeming value. But they don't have any redeeming value now. And as I said earlier, the bar keeps getting lower and lower and lower and lower. To the point, by the damn time you get something, you're like, why am I getting into this relationship for? Because see, in the past, what a man got was, he got a virgin, he got a woman that was wife ready, and he got a woman that didn't have children. The fair exchange for the man was this. What the man gave to her was provision, protection, security, and maintenance. Because both were raised in fairly stable homes. They weren't perfect, but black folks were more in unison in the past, and their homes were more intact, even though we were dealing with trauma than it is now. But see, these simp surfers will tell you, you just need to work harder. And sometimes some of these boomers are wrong. I call them the gravy trained simps. They'll tell you just got to work hard like we did back in the past, and you just got to stick with it, and they'll eventually get right. But don't even listen to them, because if you do listen to them, you're going to end up looking like Grady and these old hound dogs, because the woman stress you the hell out. Yeah, gravy trained simps will tell you, that dealing with modern women gonna be easy. They'll tell you, just love her son and stick with it, like I did with Gertrude. They'll say, just love her son and be nice to her and buy her flowers. And many times the women will teach the boys that goofy stuff. But as I told you guys earlier, women only respect power and strength. That's all they know, and that's all they respect. And when you go around trying to make them become something they are not, or conditioned to become, then you become a fool. And eventually when you come home trying to deal with a cantankerous woman, because you are a gravy trained simp, you're gonna start looking like this. Yeah, you get with that old nagging woman, raising hell, listen like that puppy, she start, bellowing, woo, come clean the house up. I'm not happy. Take out the trash, clean the garbage, go do this and that. And you trying to work and earn money, but she nagging the heck out of you, and you can't even focus as a man because she's stressing you out. That's why Dre advocates men travel. That's why Richie Mack advocates for men to travel. That's why we're going to talk about the Great Migration. Because a train, there's a leak in this old building, and I gotta move. I gotta move. And that's what some of you men should do. You men that have your money right, have your mind right, you need to get yourself prepared to move on and find better women that can add value to your life. Because just like I heard Dre say last night, you ain't got a lot of time. You don't have a lot of time to deal with modern, cantankerous women. You just don't have a lot of time. Because from what I'm seeing, they ain't gonna change. They'll tell you, I'm a package deal, grossly overweight, bodies looking like damn potatoes. But they'll tell you, I deserve a good man. Not I want a good man. I deserve a good man. Guys, when you hear a woman tell you, I deserve a good man, you need to run. You need to run as fast as you can. Because they are toxic. They don't have any self-awareness. And I told you guys in the past that only a righteous woman that has self-awareness knows that she don't deserve anything. Men, you don't deserve a good woman. When you hear these goofy men say, oh, I deserve it. No, you don't deserve a good woman. You don't deserve a good woman. You overweight. You got high cholesterol. You got diabetes. You don't work out. You got gout in your feet. But you talking about you deserve a good woman. How the hell you can protect her? You can't protect her if you're in bad shape. But if you know you in good shape, you work hard, you work out, you eat clean, you got your finances on point, you got your mental health taken care of, then you deserve a good woman because you put in the work. But see, a lot of these men want taxation without representation. And see, when you begin to try to set standards, then once again, you have trolls coming in here running their mouth, trying to shame men. And, like I told you guys, you can't shame me. I know what my worth is. But they'll come trying to shame you. And, because they're cowards and they won't cam up. Once again, guys, and this is what they'll do.
These men are coming together. They must be stopped. Who hurt these petty fools? Their mama is black. Who hurt them? They must be gay. I must go cause confusion.
Yeah, man. You know, they want to cause confusion, man. You know, you must be alphabet. Your mama black. Who hurt them? You know, all cognitive distortions. You know, they don't want to see you happy, and they cause confusion. They get on their surfboard, and they cause confusion. They start surfing the internet. You know, they start typing, looking goofy, with avatars on, and they get on that surfboard like the Silver Surfer did when he went across the galaxy. And, you know, try to cause chaos, but I'm going to serve notice on the night to all the simp surfers. I am Galacticus. I am Thanos. I got something for you. I got some fire for your mind. I got that fire for your mind. Because that reverse psychology does not work on culture, clinician. And it does not work on other masculine men that know what their worth is. I'm going to do everything in my power to help these men restructure their schema. I'm going to do everything in my power to help these men restructure their negative thoughts. I'm going to do everything in my power to help these righteous brothers fortify the law in their minds so they can be the best versions of themselves. And when these silver surfers, and I say it again, these silver surfers try to come to stop them from getting what they deserve after they have put in work, they're going to use some mental kung fu on them.
That's ISO?
Rack it up, I gotta build up the bank to make me a safe house. Shake it up, she got her hands on her knees and
Hey man, my man Alton Prayer just showed me a lot of love, man. Alton Prayer, brother, you know, man, damn Alton Prayer, man. You make me feel good, man. I really appreciate it, man. But in the meantime, shout out to Alton XL Pro for that $5 super sticker. And guys, ain't too many y'all can top Alton today. Alton already dropped me almost $80 a day, man. Alton showing a lot of love. I'm gonna get me a couple of sandwiches with that money today. After I get off the stream and get ready for the night, I'm gonna get me a couple of sandwiches. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna walk like my man Peaceful Life. And but in the meantime, guys, y'all ain't gonna be able to top Alton Prayer. Alton Prayer is a homie. He is the homie. Not only is he the #1 sponsor of the stream, but also he hit me with a nice $50 cash out. Here we go. So yeah, it's guys like, you know, XL Pro and Alton Prayer and Andrew Baker, James Miles, and you guys are the ones that make this worth doing, because if you know anything about content creation, guys, it's extremely time consuming. Last year when I started this YouTube channel, guys, I probably kicked out over $7,000 in equipment, office furniture, because I always wanted to be the best. I wanted to make sure you guys get the best. And I count it an honor and a privilege to serve these good, righteous brothers that are on their pilgrimage to modifying and changing the law in their mind and not being the victim, guys, of the Silver Surfer. But in the meantime, let me read through some of these comments. Man, y'all guys are funny, man. Oh, my goodness. Oh my goodness, boy. Peaceful Life said that they want men to give their life to a community that doesn't respect and honor good black men, no doubt. Shout out to Greg with Scotland. JJ Diesel said, I got my passport because I'm qualified to have it. Losers hate us, free masculine men. Yes, sir, they do. Shout out to my man Ian Graves. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Thanks for showing love, Ian. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Shout out to my man Ian. And, you know, like my man, he said, free your mind, Negroes. Morpheus, right? You got to free your mind. But before you can free, you got to change the law in your mind. Shout out to Cincinnati Red for that $5 super sticker. Thank you, Cincinnati Red, brother. I appreciate it, guys. And we're going to talk about it, you know, because we're just starting to get this thing percolating. You know, we're getting it percolated. But in the meantime, guys, share the content because I got some power for you guys on today. But silver surfing, is a detriment to male empowerment because they don't want to see you happy. They want to see you as slaves. Shout out to Larry Stone TV. He says simps will always be slaves to female validation from the black woman. Masculine men do what they want. Yes, sir, they do what they want. Yes, sir, you're 1,000% correct, Larry Stone TV. And what they don't understand is this, Larry Stone TV. Not only do masculine men do what they want, it's contraindicated for men to chase out the women and their validation because women only respect power and strength. Once you guys understand that women were wired to look up to you and not for you to chase them for their validation, then you'll understand how female psychology works. Because I told you guys that there are 7 steps that a man must go do in order to become an optimized male. And it is faith, family, female psychology, finances, world travel, politics, and male mental and male physical health. Once you guys understand those 7 core principles, you will become optimized. You will be just like Mega Man. Mega Man became Mega Man when he got all the weapons to defeat the enemy. Because if it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, guys, it ain't right. And so my job is to get you guys optimized. And world travel is part of that male optimization. And we're going to have a powerful show on tonight with Dre with Love Crossing Borders and another special guest. But in the meantime, let me continue to read through some of these comments because you guys are adding some good stuff. He said the simp surface dudes talk tough on the internet, but as the house... You're right, brother. At the house, they're wearing panties and rubbing feet. Yeah, they keyboard gangsters, But when the wives crack the whip, they get up, yes, dear, dragging their knuckles. Oh, I gotta do what my wife say. I'm scared. My wife, happy wife, happy life. Don't have an ounce of masculinity. I'm not saying you can't love your wife. You love your wife. But if your wife is in the wrong, you need to check your wife too. Because the word husband, guys, comes from the word care. The word husbandry comes from the word care. You have to care for her. But you can't care for something that's dishonorable. You can't care for something that's disobedient, something that these women don't like to hear. Well, I don't want no man, I'm not going to obey a man because, they took that out of the vows now, honor and obey. They don't want to obey you. And if a woman say, I'm not going to say honor and obey, don't marry because she's woke and she's modern. Women that are cerebral, spiritual women understand that obedience does not mean that she's a slave. Actually, being an obedient wife sometimes will save her. A lot of women are out in the street. They're not provided for. They're uncovered, and they're also unprotected because they did not obey their husbands. And let me say this. Many of these men are not equipped to be leaders either because they've been raised to be simp surfers. So, it's very dysfunctional because we live in a very dysfunctional culture. But if you get with a woman, guy, and you busting your ass and you trying to be a good man and she can't honor and respect you as a man, don't argue with her. There's too many fine women in the world that will love you, honor you, and respect you. There's too many women in the world. You don't have to settle for average, especially if you have done the work. Now, if you haven't done the work, if you're lazy, you got gout, you don't work out, you don't drink clean water, you don't have good health, then I'm not talking to you. If you don't have a vision or a plan, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about men that have put in the work. Because see, provision is not only having money, but provision is always also being able to guide and lead her as a man. Provision of thought, provision of finances, and for provision of protection. Because you are a warrior, it's your job to protect your woman. That's why you got to keep your body in shape. You got to work out. You got to lift weights. You got to run. Because see, when you get overweight, like I'm overweight right now, I need to drop about 30 pounds. I don't look it because I'm tall. I'm 6'6", 6'5". I'm about 275, 280. I need to get down to about 240, 250. Need to start lifting weights again. I got 300-pound weight bench in the garage. I got stretch bands. But you got to be able to provide for that woman if you want to have the mantle or respect. And even if you're not always already at the point where you need to be at, if she's a righteous woman, she's going to pray you through. But see, these women, they ain't trying to pray nobody through. They want to come at the finish line after you've done all the work. And I say, if she have not labored with you, if she have not been a partaker of your suffering, in my opinion, she does not deserve to reign with you. If she has not been a partaker of your suffering, she should not have to come at the finish line and get all the goods that you got after you put in all the hard work. Let me continue to read through some of these comments, guys, and we're going to talk about the concept of the silver surfer in a minute, because the silver surfer is what a lot of people have dealt with, the silver surfer. JJ Diesel Cowboy said the average modern woman is definitely following Eve's footsteps because she didn't learn from the trouble that it caused humanity. Yes, sir, you're 1,000% correct. Alton Prayer, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you, Alton Prayer. Thank you, sir. You've been always kind, man. Forever grateful. You're a good brother. You always showing me love, man. You know, when you do this content, man, sometimes you say, you know what the hell with, I'm tired of doing this work because it's hard. Sometimes hours and hours of editing, hours and hours of planning, you know. And I know you guys might say, well, nobody asked you to do it right. Nobody did ask me to do it. But because I want to see men liberate, and because I put in the time, then, you know, show love and show support. As they say in the conscious community, give thanks. yeah, Joseph Benjamin, damn gravy train simp. Joseph Benjamin said they buy me flowers now. Oh my goodness. A piece of life said overweight, high body count, combative, and still thinking they deserve to be with a quality man. Right. You know, got all that baggage, but think they deserve a quality man. It's one thing to say, I want a good man, but your ass don't deserve nothing. I don't deserve nothing if I didn't put in the work. But because I put in the work, if I was a single man, I deserve a good woman, and I would get a damn good one because I put in the work. I don't go around saying I deserve a woman. That's foolish. You don't deserve no damn good woman. And she sure as hell don't deserve a good man if she didn't put in the work. You're right, man. Umar Johnson's definitely one. Shout out to my man D. May. He says, Simp Surfer, I need your level of creativity, brother. He says, as usual, you're cooking. Let's get it. No doubt. Shout out to my man D. May. D. May is being liberated from the spirit of the Simp Surfer. Just like the Silver Surfer would traverse throughout the galaxy, he's being liberated from the Simp Surfer. You know, because, you know, once again, Dre have been a victim of it. I've been a victim of it. Richard Mack has been a victim of it. Guapo has been a victim of it. Any male content creator that speaks on true masculinity is a victim of simp surfing. They get on the internet and start surfing the internet, flying on their silver paddle, on their silver board, damn it, trying to cause chaos in masculinity because they are deaf. They cannot hear what you're trying to say. They can't hear what men are saying because they have cognitive dissonance, guys. And many times, guys, they think what they are doing is right. Many of them also have a condition, guys, called ego syntonia. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's that Leo swag. You know, Leos are very creative, man. But they got ego syntonia. They think that what they are feeling is right. That's what delusional people do. They'll be on the keyboard laughing, laughing, because they're cowards. They won't talk to you one-on-one. They're cowards because they know if they come on my platform with their mouths getting slick, they can get this work. You can get it on the keyboard with the internet, or you can get it in the physical. You know, like I always tell people, I know there's some men that can take me out physically. I know there's some men that can knock me out. That's true. But there's some men that I can knock out too if it got to that. Or there's some men that it can be even. But it's not the point that you can beat me. The point is, I'm not going to back down if I see you in the physical or if I see you on the internet. I'm not backing down. That's what the point is. People think, oh, he's nice. Coach is nice. Yeah, coach is nice. But coach will give you this work too. Don't ever get it twisted. I used to work with Crips. I used to work with gang members. I used to be a CEO. I used to work in prison. Before I became the kosher clinician, I worked with hardheads. I worked with cats that were part of Hard Knocks. I worked with cats that had that on my mama mindset. They didn't like me because I was trying to be a man. I used to deal with them. So don't ever get it twisted. Some of these clowns, these keyboard clowns in the background causing chaos on their simp board, surfing the internet because they're mentally ill and don't even know they're damn mentally ill. But they're trying to come and tell you, oh, you need to just be a stronger man. You don't know how to control your woman. You know, you need to have game. You know, these goofballs. selling BS to other men to get money off of them. Selling other men BS because they got an agenda, because they know that they're weak. But you can't use that crap on me. I study people for a living. I sometimes will let you think that you're winning. It ain't checkers, homie. It's chess. I study people, and I take mental notes. And after that, I just let it go. But you can't try that BS on me because I'm too smart for it. I used to work with convicts. I know game when I see them. That's why the convicts didn't like me. They used to call me Mr. Bojangles. They used to call me Mr. Bojangles when I worked in prison because I was always hip to their BS. So Joseph Benjamin said, $80 worth of sandwiches, though. Yeah, man, $80 worth of sandwiches. Alton Prayer said, hey, big bro, I really appreciate the work you're doing because you're out here saving lives, man. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. It's a lot of work, but I appreciate it. JJ Deeds of Cowboy said the number 7 is very powerful. I have a lot of them in my life. Yes, it's very powerful. A Peaceful Life said a woman raised them to be the men that they don't respect. Yes, sir. A Peaceful Life said they only pray God forgive them for all the pound. Man, I ain't messing with you today. Peaceful Life. Man, dude, you funny, man. Shout out to my man, KS. KS said, a man once told me to try to put their sins on you. How should people take care of their mental health? A man once told me people try to put their sins on you. How should people take care of their mental health? Well, it's simple, KS. You have to set boundaries. I'm going to say it again. You, KS, and all the men that are listening have to set boundaries. Your values will determine what your boundaries will be. I'm going to give you an example. I value respect. Therefore, if anybody disrespect me, then they're going to be cut off. That's the boundary. I value progress. Therefore, anybody that's not being progressive, that's my boundary, will be cut off. Values will determine what your boundaries will be. That's how it works. You have to set boundaries. But your boundaries are predicated on your value system. And that's why you shouldn't be around dusty people, because dusty people many times don't have any values. They value dust. They don't value anything of substance. They value dust. That's what they value. Joseph Benjamin said he said the game is BS. Women also correct and figure out how to do it, no doubt. So in the meantime, guys, I need you guys to do me a favor. You guys have been awesome on this Sunday evening stream, something I rarely do. Something I might start doing even more. But I need you guys to do me a favor. I need you guys to get the likes up, but also feed the robot. Right, destroy that like button, guys. Destroy that like button. Now, what is a simp server? Why is the simp server a detriment? It curtails true masculinity. I'm going to show you guys something about the Silver Surfer, and you guys going to see why I chose him as an icon. So let's look at the powers, guys, of the Silver Surfer. The Silver Surfer wields the power cosmic, granting him superhuman strength, endurance, and senses, and the ability to absorb and manipulate the universe's ambient energy. And that's what these simps do. They come into men's spaces trying to manipulate the energy of masculinity. And his alter ego is somebody called Norrin Radd. I don't know who Norrin Radd is, but the question is, that's what simp, if you want to look at it from a concept, that's what a Silver Surfer is. His alter ego is Norrin Radd. The question is, the Simp Surfer the most powerful Marvel superhero? I don't know. But really, the Silver Surfer is really a villain. He's really and he's not really a hero or a villain. He's somewhere in between. He's almost like Abraham Lincoln. You know, he didn't really want to free the slaves, but you know, he just did it for expediency instead of doing it for what was right. And that's how the Silver Surfer is. But as it relates to women, the simp surfer want to cause destruction. And anytime men begin to speak out, then they got a problem with it. They got a problem with it. And just like Norman Rod, the alter ego, a lot of these guys that are simp surfers went through trauma. People that go through trauma have a condition called disassociation. They go through trauma. And so just like Norman Rod, a lot of the men that hate what men do are problematic. Now, this is what Norman Rod said. He said, "I'm not a god. I have never created life, but I have lived. That is enough. So I fight to preserve the opportunity to love, to have lives that would be lost in the battles ahead. And like gods, they would truly live forever. And even after that, they are gone." But Norman Rod, guys, is an alter ego. And men that are simp surfers have alter egos based on trauma. Anything that looks like masculinity and anything that looks like preserving masculinity, they have a problem with it. They struggle with it because they don't know what true masculinity is, and they actually hate it. Just like the simp surfer, men that struggle with masculinity suffer from an identity. They don't have an identity. As I said earlier, men were raised in single-parent homes. Many of them also have a condition called internalization. They internalize pain. I'm going to show you guys something, the difference between introjection, internalization, and projection. So I'm going to give you guys an example between the two. Let me show you guys something. The difference between the two. Introjection. Introjection is a ego defense mechanism. Let me show you guys something. Hold on. So you guys can see the difference. Hold tight. Let me show you guys something real quick. All right. So this is the difference, guys. Introjection, internalization, identification. And this is all clinical stuff, and I'm not going to bore you guys out.
Hi, I'm Amanda Rowan, founder, or just interested in topics.
But actually, I'm not going to go through all that. But anyway, guys, introjection normally happens through women and kids. Introjection is when they hear and they take in what's being said from the outside. After a while, it goes through a cycle of events. That introjection, meaning they introject what somebody is saying, and many times women and children do it. Then it turns to internalization. Internalization is like the boiling point or the cooking point. But the last stage is called identification. They begin to identify with that introjection. Most simp surfers identify with gynocratic thought, and they identify with women because they've never seen masculinity. That's why, men of them are they're dealing with mental illness, and they don't even know it. They think what they're doing is right. I can see it from a mile away. And then once they internalize what they're going through, then they project, guys, they fear and hurt onto you. They begin to project their fear and pain onto you because of what they went through from their past, and also for what they went through from their fathers, and also lack of having strong counsel. And see, it's not all men's fault, but see, they associate all men with the pain that their mothers cause, because sometimes their mothers, not always, sometimes the men that's left, but their mothers chose worthless men. Many times their mothers chose swag over substance. Not always, but many times they did. Many times their mothers wanted a bad boy over a good man, because a good man like Dexter was boring. They wanted somebody like Raekwon and Man. They want somebody that had edge, somebody that made them excited. And they chose that man over a decent man, only to want that decent man in their latter years after their virtue and their value is gone. They got mental distress. Many of them became overweight. Many of them got torment through having so many different men. So now you want to give the man that you should have married in your younger years leftovers, but then you wonder why that man don't want to be with you. So the identification, they can never identify with the voice of the masculine because, once again, they've never seen it. And this, guys, leads to being an unconscious simp. Once again, what is an unconscious simp? They supplement irrational male patterns. I need you guys to listen. The unconscious simp, like Boyce Watkins, like D.L. Hughley, and many others, they supplement, meaning they give, they feed into narcissism. They supplement irrational. What they're doing is not rational. It's not rational to defer your power to a woman. They supplement irrational male because they're not men, they are males. They are males, they are not men, because manhood and men is a process. They supplement irrational male patterns. They have a pattern of behavior. They silver surf. They simp surf. They cause chaos. They hate true masculinity. They fight true masculinity. They disrespect honorable men. They also got issues with women that believe in true masculinity and believe in family and structure. These simp surfers are not only antithetical to men, but also they're antithetical to traditional women as well. And then, guys, what they'll do, they will intellectualize what they're doing. Intellectualization means they remove themselves from the stress that caused them emotional pain. And they will use reason to deal with it. They will intellectualize why men shouldn't go to Thailand. They will intellectualize why men shouldn't go to South Africa. They will intellectualize why men should be the best versions of themselves. They will intellectualize why men should deal with a community that does not honor and respect men, but only want men to be a utility after they tore it down and after they messed it up. They don't see you men as anything other than a means to an end. Some of these women, once they've been imprinted, because the male imprint is so strong, they don't really want you. They'll be in the bed having sex with you, but they still thinking about Raekwon and Man blowing their backs out. Because that's what imprinted them. They were imprinted by Raekwon and Man. They were never imprinted by you. That's why women that have extremely high or body counts or had a lot of fun, many times they get bored in a marriage. They get bored in relationships because they've had too much fun. They become imprinted. And by the time they get with you, sex is just a chore. There's no value and nothing special in the sex because they've given away to so many other men. And it makes it harder for you to pair bond with that woman because she's had so much fun. Many of these men, guys, have arrested development from their psychosocial stage of development. You might ask the question, what am I talking about? Well, Erickson talked about 6 stages of psychosocial development. One of the stages of psychosocial development is called identity versus role confusion. Identity means a child can go into a healthy identity, often fostered by a strong family, being led by a strong father. But role confusion means they have confusion in their adult life as it relates to intimacy, as it relates to masculinity, and also as it relates to being a man. So a lot of these men are going through what's called arrested development. They don't even know it, but their development has been arrested. That's why they'll go around still, damn 40 years old with fitted hats on, flip behind their head. And I'm not against a man wearing urban gear. I'm not against it. By the way, let me make sure I say that because some folks take what you say and run with it. So I'm not saying that, but I think every man should be able to have urban gear with his casual gear, also with his suit and tie gear. I think he should have all 3. There's a time for all things. You need to be able to juxtapose or flip from urban to business casual to formal. That's what men do. You're not going to find me wearing no damn J's at 50. I'm 50 years old, and I'm walking around with a fitted hat on, flip back, looking like a damn fool with J's on. I'm not doing that goofy mess. If somebody else want to do it, I ain't knocking it, do you? But I'm not going to do it because, to me, it seems like it's arrested development. It's arrested development, and many times it happens at the psychosocial stage called identity versus role confusion. But once again, let me say this clearly because folks will hear your voice and run away with it and start lying. I'm not against a man having urban gear, wearing shoes or wearing sneakers. I'm not against it. I'm not against it. But what I'm saying, your whole repertoire should not be this urban gear. That's my take on that. So once again, fathers guide their sons' development. Fathers, they guide their sons' development. But we live in a world that's devoid of true masculinity, to the point that when some of these black coaches try to teach these young men about the virtues of masculinity, many times these young black boys, they don't want to listen to these black male coaches. The black male coaches catch hell because they've never seen true masculinity in the home. See, the white kids, they've seen their fathers for the most part in the homes. But when these black coaches try to teach these black boys about being men, I've seen it too as a teacher and sometimes as a therapist. They will fight you because they are deaf. They deny the evidence you're trying to give to them. They become enraged when you show them the truth. They argue with you, do ad hominem attacks, and they will fight you physically or verbally, or they will flee altogether. It's cognitive dissonance at its finest. And I can see it, guys, from a mile away as a licensed clinician. I see it all the time, and I'm sure you guys have seen it. And that's why we can't have any semblance of truth or virtue because of these simp surfers. These simp surfers going across the community, going across the internet, causing chaos. And one of the number one simp surfer guys that you guys have talked about, I've identified him as Boyce Watkins. Boyce Watkins is a simp surfer. He is a true simp surfer. Shout out to me, read some of these comments. JJ Diesel Cowboy said, tell him, I'm a nice guy, but I have a very powerful temper. I'm human too, no doubt, respect. MC Recovering Wellness said that a simp surfing will turn on you and dirty Mac you behind your back. Yes, sir. You 1,000% correct, MC Recovering Wellness. Thank you, both, for that $5 super sticker. Snuggle said that you can't say you're not against something, then the description of that said you call it goofy mess because it would be taken into contempt. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, Snuggle. You need to clarify what you're talking about. You can't say you're against something and then in the description of that said you call it goofy because, I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, he said, I shared the stream with a lot of my friends. I'm going to try to get them to help to get the numbers. So no doubt, I appreciate it, man. I don't take Snuggles serious. Until Snuggles came up, let me see what it is. I don't take Snuggles serious. But Snuggles cool with me. I think Snuggles is a white guy because Snuggles love to say you people. So I think Snuggles is a white guy. But, Snuggles, you cool with me as long as you keep your mouth on point. I don't have a problem with you as long as you're respectful. I'll be respectful to you, Snuggles, but just don't slip. But I don't know what you're talking about, Snuggles, but whenever you cam up, we'll have a conversation. Or if you want to give a donation, we'll talk about it. But in the meantime, guys, I got something to show you guys because simp surfing has become a detriment to male mental health. Simp surfing. So let me show you guys something. I got something else I want to show you guys. Show you guys something. And this is Boyce Watkins, who is, in my opinion, an unconscious simp. I think he is an unconscious simp. Let me show you guys. Let me show you guys this video real quick. All right, here we go. So this is a video taken from Boyce Watkins, and he was talking about...
Definitely, I'm going to go back to this whole...
He was talking about, guys, the manosphere, or the male spaces, or male empowerment. And I want you guys, let's break down what you guys think about what Boyce Watkins is saying. For copyright strikes or copyright ID issues, I didn't want to use the whole stream, but I think Boyce Watkins was on a stream called, I don't know what it was, but anyway, let's listen to what he's saying because he had a lot of vitriol recently towards Kevin Samuels as well. Rest in power, Kevin Samuels. But listen to what he's saying.
This manosphere thing. I don't know if you follow that on YouTube, but with that whole simping thing, you got this, faction of guys out there on the internet that are, promoting like the real strong masculinity. And some of the stuff I agree with, How do you feel about the manosphere out there and, them just, almost demonizing a woman in some cases?
Well, I think that part of masculinity means you can claim your masculinity without demonizing a woman. Like, in order for me to win, I don't have to hate on you.
And see, guys, Boyce Watkins doesn't know any better because Boyce Watkins was not raised in true masculinity himself. What they say when men begin to speak out, anytime men begin to speak out, they say that you're degrading women. But for so long, in the 90s, you guys grew up in the 90s, you heard songs like "I Don't Want No Scrub," which is degrading women. "You Can't Be Broke," which is degrading men. "You Can't Be Dusty," which is degrading men. You can't be all these other idioms, which in essence degrades men. But as soon as men flip it and say the same thing, "I don't want a woman with X, Y, Z," then all of a sudden it's degrading. Men can't have a preference, but women can. And that's a problem because men and women both should have a preference. I don't have a problem with a woman saying, "I don't want a man that's not taking care of himself." I don't have a problem with a woman to say I don't want to deal with a man that's not on top of his game. Doesn't bother me at all. A woman got every right to say that if she's putting in the work to do the right thing. But see, Boyce Watkins guys have not been raised by masculine men. He don't know what true masculinity is. And so when Boyce Watkins hear other men speak, he's deaf as well because Boyce Watkins might be an academic, but Boyce Watkins guys is definitely an unconscious simp. But keep listening.
If I'm really a winner, like you think about it, right? Think about like basketball. Michael Jordan became successful by shitting on a lot of people. He was kind of an asshole. But LeBron James became successful by making his teammates better. And I think the second model is better for the world than the first one. There are plenty of people throughout history who claim their power through the oppression of others by attacking others and fighting others. Then there are those who were just powerful people because their presence made everyone around them more powerful. If you make everyone around you more powerful, then you become more powerful too. So my view of the masculinity of the manosphere is that a lot of it is driven by the fact that black male masculinity has for the longest time been oppressed. They do not want to see the black man as a man. They want to see him as a little boy. And even better, they want to see him as a little girl. They want to see him as weak. They want to see him as a victim.
Now, Boyce did get that part right, but we're going to finish hearing what Boyce is saying because some say he was throwing some shade on KS recently, but let's finish listening to what Boyce is saying.
And many black men were raised to think that way. That's why a lot of the more masculine black men don't get opportunities on TV. They don't get opportunities in Hollywood, any of that. And if you go to Hollywood and you're a black male, you're better off being gay or something in a lot of cases. And that's just what it is. So I understand why that exists. Also, there are a lot of people who profit from attacking and demonizing black men. When they talk about terms like toxic masculinity, which is a whole made up construct, first people they talk about is black men. Black men are the poster children of toxic masculinity. And that's not fair. That's wrong. And I get that. Right. And so as a result, you have scenarios where you have these weak ass women who will do terrible things to men and then constantly go through life saying, a man did this to me. I'm a victim of abuse. I'm a survivor of abuse. He was abusive. And nobody really checks them. Nobody asks him like, well, what did he really do that was abusive? Like, well, you mean he wouldn't put up with your bullshit? Like, that's what makes you label him as abusive? Like, that's a lot of that. We know this, right? We know these things happen. So the manosphere, I think, is driven by a lot of men who have legitimate reason to be pissed off. Maybe they had a child with a woman and the woman decided.
Okay, well, Boyce is proving me wrong. Maybe Boyce been born again. So it sounds like in this particular clip, that Boyce is getting some common sense. Boyce is maybe seeing the light a little bit. But there have been scenarios where Boyce appeared to be demonizing Kevin Samuels. And we're gonna talk about it. You guys tell me what you all think. But I do definitely think that Boyce in the past have been a simp surfer. But hold tight, because I want to see if I can find that clip. But he's demonizing KS. Because some say he has some controversial comments on Kevin Samuels' untimely demise. Hold tight.
decided that she wasn't going to let him see her kids, or maybe they were vulnerable to a woman and they got hurt. And it might even go further back than that. Maybe they had a horrible mother who said terrible things to them when they were growing up, or ran their daddy off, or whatever, right? Like women play a part in the creation of the manosphere just like the rest of us do. But here's the thing, though. For those that want to be intelligent about it, who want to try to find balance, I hope that they will take the time to understand that not every woman is trying to be our enemy. You know, not every woman is trying to shut us down. You know, some women have a legitimate gripe. You know, like since if I'm a woman and I've heard, you know, certain rappers, not all of them, but certain rappers talk about me like I'm a piece of garbage. Like I'm.
But see, this is what Boss Watkins is wrong. By and large, that's not the large consensus of men. I would say, are there some derelicts that are men? Yes. Are there some men that are abusers? Yes. But by and large, most guys are just wholesome, down-to-earth, hard-working men, in my opinion. That's what I believe. I could be wrong. But I think the average guy is just the average guy. Just a hard-working one, honor and respect. But we overgeneralize and equivocate all men in those paths. Men, by and large, they're not saying they don't like women. They love women. They just don't like the attitudes and the behaviors of many modern women, sadly, in our community, to the point that they're looking for women in other countries. Keep listening.
I'm not worthy of love. Like I'm nothing but a sex object. You know, like that's disrespectful, man. Like, and I really think that that masculinity doesn't just mean standing up for yourself. It also means standing up for that woman you love. It means standing up for your children. It means standing up for your family, right? So that's what I would like to see incorporated into the manosphere. Like, okay, what does it mean to be a man? You know, we got an organization called Black Men United, blackmenunited.net. And at blackmenunited.net, we have a list of 10 things that make you into a man. And it ain't just all about, you know, doing the hyper masculine shit that you see on TV, smoking cigars, drinking your liquor, you know, messing with 10,000 women. It's about being strong and intelligent and disciplined about how you deal with everything in your life. It means, you know, look, if I am a man and I'm doing the things that some men do, you know, like maybe I like the ladies, maybe I like to go out and engage in different things, whatever it is I do, I understand also that part of manhood and masculinity means being a provider and a protector for the community. Like a lot of men want to be treated like men, but you act like a bitch. You know, some men want to be the king, but you ain't paid the price. You know, you got to pay the cost to be the boss. Some guys want to be the boss, but you ain't acting like a boss. If you're not reliable for your kids, then you're not a boss. You can't be the king if you acting like a joke. You know, you don't coming through for your woman. You complain all the time. You sit around and call yourself a victim all the time. Well, no, that's not what manhood is. So I would divide the manosphere just into different groups. You got men who literally lie in that category, saying, "I am the captain of my domain."
Boss is partially right. He's speaking parcel mouth like on Harry Potter. He's partially right. As I said earlier, nobody deserves anything. But when you try to equivocate and encapsulate all men as being arbiters of bad behavior, then I got a problem with that. I would say by and large, the most guys are decent men. We know that there's some sorry men. That's why we talk about guys like Raekwon and Man. You guys, nobody can ever say that I don't talk about the dusty guys or the ones that aren't deserving of quality women. But you got well average and decent men that are struggling to get a small vestige of quality. We see it all the time on the internet, and you got the simp surfers coming to their rescue.
I look out for my people. I look out for my woman. I look out for my family. I love the Black community, and I'm gonna fight for that. I'll die for that. And then you've got men who just are there to complain about how their feelings got hurt, maybe by their mommy, or maybe they never were taught how to be a man, so they learned how to be a man by watching a rapper on TV, or maybe their first girlfriend broke their heart, and so they decided they want to spend their lives hating women, which unfortunately makes you more of a pussy than anything else. Because
here's another point about Boss Watkins' simp surfing. It does not mean that when men have a dialogue that they hate women. Anytime men begin to share their pain, to share their stories, this is what they say. That's why I said, you know, it's called simp surfing. And it sounds like the Boss Watkins is mixed in with it because he's saying good and bad. And this is what they say.
These men are coming together. They must be stopped. Who hurt these petty fools? Their mama is black. Who hurt them? They must be gay. I must go cause confusion.
And that's what simp surfers do. Boss Watkins is talking truth and error. But anytime black men or men in general come together and say they got a problem with a scenario or a behavior, they'll say, oh, you must be hurt or you hate women. No, that's not the case at all. Are there some men that are hurt? Okay, so what's your point? If they are hurt, what's your point? For years, there was a bellow or there was a decree with songs, I don't want no scrub. A scrub can't get no love from me. You got to have a J.O.B. if you want to be with me. For years, every good black man, every decent man was encapsulated all under the same umbrella as being ain't-ish. So, I was in that umbrella, but I ate it. I didn't do anything wrong. I was a good guy. But I was also under that same negative umbrella of being ain't-ish. So Boss is being disingenuous. He's being disingenuous or he's just being ignorant or a combination of both. Because, see, Boss was raised by a single mother, I think. And Boyce ended up marrying a woman that rejected him in his earlier years only to marry her after she had the offspring of another man, which is a simp. Because a masculine man is going to get what's best for him. Boyce could have got superior to the woman he got with, but because she was the first one that broke his heart, Boyce had to overcompensate to let that woman know that he still loved her, and he settled when Boyce could have got better. That's why men call Russell Wilson a simp, because he's supplementing irrational male patterns. Keep listening.
Also, part of manhood means having that ability to bounce back and to continue to know the benefits of how can I say this? The benefit of specific vulnerability, meaning that if a woman is a good woman and she's earned my trust, I can be vulnerable to her and be strong enough to be vulnerable to her. Just switching up. It's like, for example, with women, you have women that are respected because they know how to be a lady in the streets and a freak in the bed, right? You heard that before, right? Like a woman who's a freak all the time, it doesn't get respect. A woman who's a lady all the time doesn't get respect. It's knowing when to switch it off. So for men, it's the same thing. Okay, you got to know when to be hard and when it's okay to be vulnerable, right? You can't be hard all the time. And you can't be vulnerable all the time. You can't be crying at the drop of a hat, but you can't be slapping your woman around thinking you're a man. That doesn't make you a man if you're beating up on a woman, right? So I think the manosphere and all that space, I think it would be really good if you talk.
It does not make you a man, true, hitting on a woman, but it does not make you a lady also hitting on a man. See, it's level to this stuff. Most men are not going around, in my opinion, beating on women. We know that there's some abusive men physically, but I don't think by and large all men do that. But you cannot be a lady hitting on men, and I do agree men don't hit women. But also women that think that men can just be punching bags when they get into their emotions and feelings, that should never be tolerated either. Men should not touch women, women should not touch men. That's what I stand on that. But you're right, Peaceful Life. Boyce is definitely an unconscious simp. And he's the number one simp surfer on the internet because he's preaching truth and error mixed in together. Because everything I said earlier complements similar to what he's saying.
I'm not building strong men to lay out codes of conduct for men that involve something other than you just slinging your dick and doing whatever you want. Like any undisciplined fool can do that bullshit. I'm talking about what does it really take to be a man as a fundamental and critical, meaningful element of the community within which you're involved. I base my manhood on my ability to come through for the people I love. When I'm coming through for them, that's when I thump my chest and say, yeah, I did that because I'm a man. And I think that's where men have to kind of aim our attention.
To kind of go and piggyback off that, we've seen our brother Kwame Brown, man. He's been in the news as of late because of something that happened a couple of weeks ago. His name was brought up on the All the Smoke podcast with Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes in a very disrespectful manner. This brother's been disrespected for the last 20 years, been called a bus and things like that. He's been relatively quiet, but he's quiet no more. He's going in. A lot of different layers to this, and we love to break this down. You got the Charlemagne layer, you got the man layer, like he was just talking about, He talks about real men and how the media definitely don't want real black men speaking on their airways. And this is why we get Stephen A. Smiths and Charlemagne the Gods and things like that, because they're controlled by a higher entity of oppression. What is your thoughts on all that, brother? Please break it down. We've shared our thoughts on it on the podcast and on our platforms, and we'd love to hear yours.
Let me say this. There is, I will give you a quick breakdown of why I think the world loves.
Stephen A. Smith is a simp surfer. Charlemagne the God is a simp surfer. They get on the internet and they spread chaos and anything regretting or more or less showing solace to masculinity. They all are simp surfers. They all are simp surfers. They don't add any value to masculinity or heteronormative masculinity. And anytime men begin to stand out and speak out and call things out, that's why anytime men begin to speak out that are masculine, it's met with vitriol because many have never heard true masculine men speak because they don't identify with true masculine men. That's why it's very hard for men to get their voices out, because when true masculine men speak, it causes a schema affliction to many. And so I would say that Boyce is definitely a simp surfer, and the conscious one at that. Derek Jenks or Derek Jackson is a simp surfer, but he's a conscious simp. We're going to go look at Derek Jackson in a minute and a few others. Hold tight.
Kwame Brown. And then I'll break down what I love about Kwame Brown. The world.
So let me let you guys hear something else about Boyce Watkins, because some say that Boyce is just capping. Let me show you guys something else with Mighty Boyce, because Mighty Boyce, I think Mighty Boyce has some issues with men because he was probably definitely raised a gynocrat. He got it partially right, and listen to it, guys. Hold tight.
Black woman who loves black men, who loves the hell out of us despite our flaws. Say me in the chat. Say yes in the chat. If you are a black man who loves black women, despite the challenges that come with all of us being descendants of slaves, we're all ADOS, right? Shout yourselves out in chat, because I think that what has to happen is that the people who are in the gender war need to be isolated from the people who are not in the gender war. The people in the gender war are people who are hurt, who unfortunately have allowed their pain to make them toxic. It might be a little girl who's mad because her daddy was never around, so therefore all of her problems are linked to black men, or maybe she's fallen into white feminism that told her that the black man is the reason for everything that's wrong in your life. And it may be the black man who's mad because maybe his baby mama took his child away, or maybe he's mad at his mother because his mother was mean to him, or maybe he's mad because his daddy wasn't around, so he says, well, you shouldn't date single mothers because single mothers got them raggedy ass kids. When he was a raggedy ass kid 15, 20 years ago, right? But yeah, for some reason he thinks those kids don't deserve love. Like, seriously, that's those.
You guys hear this, man? See, and that's the problem. See, in other countries, the women know that having children out of wedlock is a stigma, and they understand that if they do get a man, they have kids out of wedlock, then they got to be on their best behavior. It was not a badge of honor and courage to have children out of wedlock in the past. Women that had kids, one kid, and back then it was maybe one, it was shameful. And those women strive to be the better women because it was like the scarlet letter. But now men like Boyce Watkins, because, it appears he was probably raised by a woman, think it's his duty to be what some men call the cleanup man. And listen, I'm not knocking a man if that's what they want to do. If you feel like that's what you want to do you. But many men that have been the recipients of raising other men's kids will tell you that it's a thankless job. It's dangerous if she has a child, a girl. Many times the kids won't respect you, not always. They could grow up a certain age after you put in all those years with your money, your time, and your resources, not honoring you as a man. And many times it's going to be her kids, her dog, and you're probably coming fourth or third place. Now, if you want to be a step, then by all means be a step. But to the men that have put in the work, they have high standards, you don't have to settle for that. You should always strive to get the best. You should strive to get the best. And if you feel like the woman that you're dealing with don't give you the best, then you go check out Dre with Love Crossing Borders. Come see me at coachyourclinician@gmail.com. We both will get you right. And you can get with a woman that can give you the value that you want as a man. Men need to up their standards and start demanding more and not be intimidated by simp surfers.
Those are the people that are in the gender war. The people that are in the gender war are, in my opinion, unfortunately, you have to be careful because you can become what I call an emotional zombie. Zombies, you think about zombie movies, people get bitten by another zombie and then they catch the zombie virus. People who are full of toxicity, people who haven't overcome their trauma. Black people are very high on the trauma scale. When you look at the ACEs trauma test, adverse childhood experiences, Black people tend to score very high.
I said that earlier.
So trauma creates drama.
But watch this. It's not always trauma. I think we tend to use trauma out of context. Is it trauma? Yes, but it's not always trauma. Many times it's just being rebellious. Some of these women have seen examples. Some of these women came from decent homes, but it's not always trauma. It's just rebellion. But you want a man to get into that negative cycle where he's dealing with women that have been indoctrinated not to honor and respect men. So Boyce is a simp surfer. D.L. Hughley is one. Derek Jackson is a simp surfer, and many more. We're going to talk about those as well. Hold tight.
So ultimately, you got the people that live in the middle of the drama. They swim in the drama. They like it. They get in the ocean. They get in the poison water, and they just swimming in it, swallowing the water, taking it all in, because that's where they operate best. And if there isn't poison in the water, they don't feel comfortable. They don't feel good in fresh water, clean water, healthy water. They want to be in the poisonous water, almost like I had a relative who was such an alcoholic that if you gave him health food, he would get sick. If you gave him vegetables, he would get sick. You needed to give him liquor in order for him to feel normal. You need to give him heroin in order for his body to function properly. Like, that's what you have sometimes. You have a sickness in the spirit of your community that comes out in your relationships. I see all this happening because I'm watching what goes on the internet. So with that said, let me jump into this. Hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe. So here's the deal with Kevin Samuels in this conversation about whether or not Kevin Samuels had any money. I've seen people do entire podcasts basically almost celebrating this report, which I'm going to give you the nature of the report and where it came from and what my thoughts are in terms of what they're trying to say here. They're celebrating like, this so-called high value man only had $1,000 in his bank account. And when I heard that, I was like, really? That would be very surprising to me. So I looked at the nature of the report. It came from Media Takeout. Media Takeout is not a legitimate news organization. Media Takeout is not ABC News. Media Takeout, they're not even, Black Enterprise or BET. Media Takeout is not an organization that is known for journalistic integrity. I'm sorry, they're known for rumors. There's a lot of bias in the media in terms of how you can almost tell. This is the weird thing to me. Again, maybe I'm revealing how, my age now, because I'm 51. I'm not 22. But I remember a time where reporters told the truth, where reporters had to actually triple, quadruple check their sources and make sure they were right on point with everything they said. You don't really have that anymore. I saw News One, another Black organization. I used to write for News One a decade ago. I don't write for them anymore. But I was very surprised when the title of their story about Kevin Samuels' death was something like, it said something like it said something in the title about him being misogynist. And I said, how in the hell are you going to put that in a title? Like, that's just your opinion of this guy. You're not supposed to do that when you're a journalist. I get it if you feel that way. I get it if that.
But see, most journalists now don't have a journalistic integrity. Anything that sells, anything that causes chaos, that's what people listen to. Guys, the link has been dropped. Peaceful Life or any of the brothers, if you guys want to come up and add to the conversation, you guys can. I'm going to get off the stream in a few minutes, but I wanted to do this show. It's been one I've been in my heart for a while. I was going to do it last night, but you guys definitely came through on today. We got a good show on tomorrow with Dre, and we got an even better show tomorrow with the undisclosed guest. I'll be putting that up at the same time at some point. But guys, the link has been dropped. Feel free to pop in as we talk about the simp surfer. And many of these men that are actually just broken men that have been dealing with internalization, introjection, identification, and the last stage is projection.
That's if he rubbed you the wrong way. But journalists aren't supposed to do that, right? So this is what you got here. You've got a world full of quack journalism, a world full of bias, tremendous amounts of bias, where people are just kind of saying whatever they want to say, and then people run with it like that's a real report. Media Takeout is not a news organization. Media Takeout, I looked at a little bit of the story. It looks like they quoted a friend of the family to say, oh, well, Kevin only had $1,000 in his bank account and they're doing a GoFundMe for him. Let me ask y'all a question. Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. If I went to one of your, I want you to think of a random friend that you have. Think of your homeboy or your girl that you might go out to drinks with. And let's say, God forbid, you died tomorrow. Let's say you died tomorrow. And then somebody went to your random ass friend that you have drinks with once a month, and said, "So what was the state of
So JJ Diesel, what is your take? And Peaceful Life, and any other brothers want to cam up or have a conversation, let's do it. What's your take on this simp surfing that we have, meaning men that come on the internet to shame men into silence for having standards, or more or less talking about the behavior of modern women? What's your take on the conversation?
Well, if you ask me, thanks for having me, first of all, and
yes, sir.
You have a happy Sabbath. My take on it, I mentioned indoctrination camp known as church. I think he's been going to those too long, and he's trying to put men in a box. And I don't fit in the box. I don't let people like him speak for me, and I mock them, rebuke them, and just speak my mind. And I got some experiences he cannot account for.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of men, I'm sure, can say that.
So what's been your experience with this whole new concept that I created called simp surfing? What's been your experience with these simp surfers going across the internet causing chaos? What's been your experience?
They've been combative and trying to, just cause aggravation, but I bat them down. I rebuke them. Just the way I would Boris Watkins or anybody else that try to come at me and try to use shame and tactics. See, I use powerful levels of truth and sarcasm to just disembowel any effort that these wicked people try to come at me with, and leave them sitting there on their butt, so to speak. It's like I done ripped the chair out from under them while they're sitting in it, or worse.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Does it appear that anytime men begin to speak up on what they want, what they value, what they want to accept, is always seen as bashing? Why is that when men begin to speak out about what they want, is always under the umbrella of bashing? And once again, guys, the link has been dropped. And in the meantime, guys, get the likes up and feed the algorithm.
Hit that like button. Go ahead. Do it now before I reach out into that screen and twist your hand like Aunt Esther. Hit the like button. Thank you.
Destroy.
All right. But you got to destroy that like button. But the whole concept, JJ, of simp surfing, does it appear to be on the uptick in your opinion? Do you feel like more men are beginning to invade male spaces, trying to shame men into silence in your opinion? Oh, here go my homie, Peaceful Life. What's up? That's my homie. Hey man, what do you think about that term simp surfing, man? It's a powerful term, because a lot of these simps be causing chaos. We talk about hyenas, but simp surfers are men on the internet causing chaos, and many times, Ingram, they have egos dystonia, and they also believe this.
Why are you destroying our planet?
I have no choice.
Yeah. These simp servers don't think they have a choice, Ingram. They think what they're doing is right. They think they have no other choice but to call and go on men platforms and call us weak. Your mom is black. Who hates you? You must be an alphabet. All kinds of goofy stuff, which is many times based on trauma and pain, but also it's based on rebellion. But do you think there's been an uptick in simp surfing, in your opinion? What's your take on that?
Well, absolutely, because when you have a problem with the message, the quickest way to try and then stop things is to demonize the messenger. If you make people like you or I or anybody that's in the manosphere look evil or look bad or look hurt or look toxic or whatever, and try to change that narrative, now you're trying to silence whether or not people hear from you. What I hear from Boyce, or Moise, I call him, is a lot of half truths.
Right, half truths. Right, that's what he did. Half truths. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
He's probably had to absorb the content, and guys like that like to talk out their ass without actually sitting down and watch the content. The manosphere is all about self-empowerment, self-improvement. It's not necessarily about women. The manosphere does teach female nature, but what he's doing is he has to deal with his inner simp, and he has to understand the decision that he's made. You have a woman that he's married to that rejected him in her prime, and now she has like 3 kids, and you know she's past the expiration date, and he's getting her on the back end.
Right.
And as a high value man, he has to justify that in his own mind,
right?
Because here you are, you know, you're taking women that would not even date you or look at you in her prime. How is that masculine in any regard? And see, the problem with people like Boyce is they're not challenged by men like me or you or anybody else. And many of these men too that are simping in these you know, on the internet, they don't have conversation with men that are intellectually intelligent enough to challenge them on their weak talking points about the manosphere or anything else. Because like I said, they're career simps. They've been doing, you know, they're unconscious simps. And his whole community thing, what man in his right mind will put his life on the line, put his resources on the line to battle for a community that doesn't respect him or value him, and only values the resources that he brings, doesn't care about his opinion, doesn't care about his thoughts, unless they're liberal or woke-minded.
No doubt, I totally agree. 90s in the fast lane say Boyce does some good work. Go back to what you were saying about partial truths, but it looks like he had the same programming as most black men, but even his success couldn't combat the programming. Only blinded him from the some truths, right? And that's why he's called the unconscious simp. You're right. 90s in the fast lane. Feel free to cam up if you want to and have a conversation. But guys, in the meantime, also go click on the link tonight, because it goes back to what Peaceful Life is saying. He's correct. Do we talk about female and female nature? Yes, but remember I said that there are 7 steps, not 1 step, to male optimization. Finances, faith, female psychology, world travel, family, male mental and physical health, and politics. Once you understand how those 7 elements play a role in your life, then you become optimized. But people always try to assume that when men come together and speak a peaceful life, it's always you hate women. And it's stupid, because if we hate women, why are men going to other countries to find better women? That's why when they say, oh, you hate black women, no, they don't hate black women. We love black women. That's why they're going to other countries to find better black women. They don't hate black women. They just hate the bad behaviors of many of our women that have been indoctrinated by liberal policies. You know, that's the issue. What's your take on that? And JJ? Did you hear me?
We don't hate black women. They hate us, and it shows. Plenty of evidence.
Why do you feel that black women hate black men? Why do you feel that way?
Well, they put their men on child support, even if they already providing for their children. They abort their kids. They abuse their own kids, the ones that actually managed to go through with the pregnancy and raise. They sell us out by calling police on us if they don't get their way, even if they're in the wrong. All that kind of stuff. That's not love. Ain't nothing godly and loving about that. And they rebel against the truth. And anything we try to tell, even to help them, they take it with vitriol, like you said. They cognitive.
Go ahead.
The cognitive dissonance or the demon spirit in them, they're like the spirit of Jezebel. They got this son husband and they try to turn them into Munich. I got a cousin that I be consoling and I try to help him. And he's been mentally abused so much. It's like he's really shaken. And I can tell. I feel real bad for him. I love him. I'm trying to get him out of that situation and heal from that. And I've been through some torment myself, but I spoke up. I rebelled as a child, and since I've been an adult, I've been rebuking them, and I've cut a lot of my mother side of the family off because of that. Their threats are a long list of stuff. Strife. They can't even get them along among themselves. You know, that's chaos. And godly people hate chaos. We love peace.
Right. And I think the older you get into, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that also is a thing about these women. They're not godly. We cannot see. God said, "What agreement does light and darkness have? None." Right? Okay, I digress.
No doubt, no doubt. Go ahead, Ingram. You're about to say something. Guys, click on that link for the show tonight. I need the 28 that are watching to please go click on the link for the show tonight. I'm going to have Dre with Love Crossing Borders talking about why frustrated men are actually beginning to migrate. And we're going to talk about the 7 or the top reasons, the top steps or the top elements to helping a man migrate to another country because you're frustrated with the dating choices here in America. But go ahead, Ingram, and respond to that, brother.
Well, my first thing would be to Moist or Boyce, since he's so much about the community and Black people. Why do our women vote for and support all the policies?
Yes, sir.
Part of the liberal agenda.
Yes, sir. Right.
That destroys the family, that undermines men, that supports the alphabet community. It has nothing to do with strengthening the strength of the nuclear family, which we know is the foundation of any good community.
Right,
so
right.
I would challenge you on that. And even when people like Ice Cube and Good Brothers try to do stuff, you see him with the Contract for America. You saw how those hyenas jumped on him and about what is in here for Black women. So almost like the problem with our culture is we become like the hyena clan, where it's son husbandry is an epidemic in the Black community. So many years where men went out the back door and the government took over. Men being raised by women. And what Boyce fails to understand is there's only a percentage of women in the Black community that many women respect. And those are the guys like Future and some of the other, especially when they're younger. Those are the guys
Right.
And they put up on the high pedestal. So there's a lot of good, honest, hardworking brothers like the brothers on the space here that for most parts of the community, including Boyce. Boyce was shunned by the woman he married.
Yes, sir, he was.
She didn't even want him. So the fallacy, the ridiculousness of his whole thought process is look at yourself in the mirror. You were the guy that was rejected. So what are you talking about, Boyce? You know what I mean? And and even in the community doesn't. The women in the community don't care about guys like Boyce. They don't. And what he did is got the woman that he thought he was going to get, that he wanted on the back end. After the mileage had been ran up on her. So what is Boyce talking about when women in the community themselves have rejected you?
Right. And when you point out that evidence, once again, they can't hear what you're saying, man, because they're deaf. And they'll say, you're bitter and you're hurt. Who hates you, goofy stuff. Because they don't want to hear me on the view. Go ahead, brother.
And what I ask Boyce is this. If you were a successful, hardworking man like Boyce Watkins, and you were living in, pick a country, Panama or Brazil or anywhere, why would you be getting a woman? You would be at the top of the food chain. You wouldn't be getting any woman that has 3 kids and coming off the divorce rack. You would get a nice woman. You get a woman with no kids, a woman that, because they look up and respect men who have been successful, men that work hard and that are honorable. So the argument itself that he makes, it's really dismissed by his own reality, which is that you would get better quality women if you were in a country that respects masculinity, respects manhood, respects achievement. Right. Boyce himself is a failure. So he doesn't understand that. He still thinks he's intellectual. I can't say the M word, but he's an intellectual emmer. You know what I'm talking about. So these guys try to articulate and have an intelligent conversation, but they're not as smart as they think they are.
It's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate, totally unfortunate, man. And you, brother Yusuf, how you doing, man? And what's your take on the simp surface? There are a lot of simp surface that traverse across the galaxy of masculinity, trying to dissuade or minimize the struggles of men. But what say you on this conversation, and also about the concept of the simp surfer?
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
All right. I think that there's a overemphasis and focus on trying to get women, trying to attract women, or just about women in general. And I find that from my own experience, they wouldn't be such simps if they focused on their energy. Because what I've learned since I was in high school is that women respond to energy, and what a lot of men tend to do is they tend to, the majority of them, they lack the natural energy that women respond to naturally. So they don't have to deal with a lot of the issues, such as getting rejected, or which is where I think a lot of it is stemmed from, the animosity, and also the anger, the way women respond to them, and they're unaware as to the reasons why. So I pretty much distilled that it's the energy. When a man is lacking that a presence, then he's going to have a difficult time with women. A lot of them do tend to rely on their money, their resources, their status, or as in the case with Boyce Watkins and a lot of men who call themselves, as Kevin Samuels would say, a high value man. They put everything else as high value except for what women respond to. And I can say that just from my everyday life and experience. Like I said, since high school, I just learned the secret just from observation. It has nothing to do with money, cars, clothes, how much a man has, doesn't has. There's a reason why they choose the Pookie and Ray Rays. I'm not saying that I am one of them, but these men typically don't have that aura, that energy, that presence that women intrinsically respond to on a biological level. And principally, I can tell you that just from talking to a lot of guys, their issue is their issue for a lack, the reason for a lack of energy is primarily from pornography, masturbation, and over sexual stimulation. So they have a lack of sexual discipline, and as a result, they lack that energy, and so they look to compensate for that with money, the cars, the clothes, the status, and career. But women absolutely fall in line, even Black women, which I know a lot of the people in the manosphere like to talk about and disparage to some degree, or they have this angst towards them. They all fall in line because women are all the same internally across the board, from my experience, whether you're getting them from abroad or you're getting them domestically. So, but yeah, they absolutely act like the women from the foreign countries that the men are going out of the country to seek. And ironically, they're going to drain their energy, right? Having sex with these women, and they're constantly releasing the very thing that gives them the power, that masculine presence that they need to sustain themselves. So they end up getting drained, they end up getting worn out. And what do we see happen typically? They end up dropping dead from heart attack, heart failures, all kinds of diseases and ailments. It stems from principally that man just constantly getting his rocks off, man. And it's just a lack of sexual discipline. So if they're not learning that lesson here domestically, they most certainly learn that lesson abroad. It's just unsustainable. We typically like to do that when we're younger. And as we get older, we double down and we think we still got it like that. But it's like you're running through your reserves, and a lot of men run through their reserves. So that's really the secret to women falling in line. It's you not having to do anything, at least speaking for myself and the few men that I know who practice the same discipline as I do.
Yeah, I think that does play a role. I think what you're saying has some value, some merit, definitely has some merit, but I think it's a lot more nuanced than that. Do you have is there some merit to what you're saying? Yes, it is. Definitely some merit to what you're saying.
I'd say it's 90%. It's very high. Yeah. It's surprisingly high. I think a lot of men say, oh, that's a part of it. And I'm saying that you could literally be broke as a joke. I mean, I've done it many times. I've met women who made several times my income. And whether it be from, going to strip clubs, and what people classify as 9s and 10s and dime pieces, it's like it's easy. It's easy if you have that discipline. And that's what a lot of these guys have. They come out of prison because what do they have to, they use all their energy to build up their body, to build up muscle, to stay focused. And they come out of prison, they are intense. And that's what women respond to. And then men get mad at them for that intensity. Oh, they're choosing these Pookies and Ray Rays, and these muscle-bound men who broke, ain't got no money. They stand with these women, who women paying for their way. I learned that from my own brother. I saw it firsthand how it works.
Go ahead, Ingram. But before you go, Ingram, that's why I wanted to say to Joseph, I think partial what you're saying, Ingram, I'll let you parrot it. It's true, and I do respect your position, Joseph. I think we all should have a conversation. But here's my defense to what I'm about to say. We all have anecdotal evidence, and it does play a role. But in other countries, you don't have to have all that bravado. No man on his purpose got time to keep trying to exude a certain type of energy to more or less make women fall in line. Can it be done? Yes, but you'll burn your damn self out trying to do it. I do believe sexual discipline is important. It is important. Sexual discipline is definitely important in so many ways. You make some valid points about taking out all your sexual energy, but it's more nuanced than that. Human behavior is more complex than that. You're talking about nature and nurture. You're talking about intrinsic versus extrinsic. All that stuff plays a role in the psychoevolution and the psychodevelopment of men and women. And the problem with a lot of modern women here in America, it's not a black man issue, it's a Western woman issue. In other cultures where you have strong patriarchies, men don't have to do all of that extra to get basic modicum of respect. I do agree with you that men should not lead with their wallets. I agree with you 1,000%. I do agree with you that there should be some level of masculinity as it relates to men being men. But however, in other countries, you can be an average guy and get us a beautiful woman. Another thing is that, people say, sex is very important for men. A lot of men are going through sexual deprivation. While sexual discipline is important, not having sex with a woman on a consistent basis is equally very important, because men that have healthy sex drives tend to have less issues with prostate cancer. Men that don't have healthy sex drives tend to have prostate cancer because they're not getting sex. So we just live in a culture in the West, whether it's white or black, where women, in general, many of them don't honor and respect men because they've never seen power and or masculinity. And I think the greatest thing with dealing with modern women is being indifferent and just ignoring them. The ones that honor you and respect you, fine. But the ones that don't, you just don't ignore. You just ignore them. But Ingram, go ahead, brother, and then I'll let you pick.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ingram.
I heard the brother was saying something. I wanted to hear what he had to say. But no, I think I agree with most of what the brother said. That the only problem I have is this, okay? If Pookie and Ray Ray was a superhero, I'd be the superhero of the superheroes. Because for most men that come with that type of mindset and dealing with the women, what they have to understand is this: our women in this country, in America, is empowered by the government. And I used to work for the government, 22 years as a cop. And the reality of life is this: you can put these women in check and keep them in a house. Black women, white, it doesn't matter what, in America. And even these women that come with this toxic type of energy that you have, you can find a way to keep them in line, but it becomes a full-time job. If I'm dealing with a woman that's overseas, that's been raised to respect masculinity in a patriarchal culture, I may have to check her once or twice a year.
Right.
That's easy.
Right.
Some of these sisters that were raised in this hyena clan or matriarchy, that were raised not to respect men, you're going to have to check her twice a week, 3 times a week. That's a full-time job. Right. And what you're not doing is focusing on building yourself, building your wealth, building your business, and building your future. So that's what I've found with a lot of situations in relationship. Dealing with women should not be a full-time job. A woman is supposed to add value to your life. So yeah, you can keep them in line, but is that what man's purpose really should be in life? And I think it's a complete waste of time. I'd rather I look at things from a capitalist perspective. If I go to a business and they offer me poor services, I go somewhere else. I don't sit around at the business and try and change it. I don't sit around the business and try and mold it. I just find a better quality or a more compliant business that serves my purpose. And I think that's the way men have to be with women, from a position of power, not from a position of weakness. I'm not digging in the trash. I'm not dealing with women with high body counts. I'm not trying to put women with a certain mindset in check. Pookie, Ray Ray, Man, and Raekwon can have those women, and they can enjoy them.
They all like them, though. They might not tell you. I'm just telling you from experience, they all prefer them. It's the energy. It's not the behavior. I think a lot of men focus on their behavior and how they act and the actions that we see that's observable to us as bad or evil or whatnot. But what they are is honest in a lot of cases with who they really are. Because every man has a dark side. Every man has a shadow side.
That's
and a lot
true.
of these so-called good men, they mask that side of themselves. They portray an image of themselves that's not as authentic as that so-called Pookie and Ray Ray or Jailbird. So that's the reason why, and that combination with their energy. So this is I know this is like a totally different conversation that a lot of people have.
Right.
I usually keep these thoughts to myself, but I see a lot of men going through this, and I'm thinking like, man, if only the first step is just practicing sexual discipline. And it seems counterintuitive to what it is. Well, I'm trying to get sex. I'm trying to get women. And the women are not respecting me abroad or not respecting me domestically. So I got to go abroad. It's so easy. Oh, go ahead.
Here's the problem, okay? The 10% of there's only a small percentage of the men that are getting laid. For the first time in our history, we have 30% of the men that are completely virgins.
Right.
That 90% of women are now going for the 10% of men. Okay. And I'm not being arrogant. I just happen to be in that 10% of men. So I understand the women. My thing is this. We have this assumption that these men are getting all this sex and they're promiscuous. Some of these dudes ain't getting laid in years. Some of these dudes are married and not getting laid. I mean, the Kosher did a show about married and alone. So there's men in marriages that are not getting laid. This is a historical low on men getting laid. So you're talking about the 2%, 10% men that are getting all these women. Most of these guys are not even in the position to experience this sexual promiscuity and liberation. Some of these guys are going to sleep at night with blue balls. So I don't know. You know what I mean? And these guys are not getting this action.
That's not a bad thing. If they took that energy and put it towards something more productive and, that could actually benefit their lives, the women literally automatically come. They throw themselves at me and other men who practice what I practice. I mean, and then you get to a point where you start rejecting it because you don't have the time. I know, I'm throwing something down. But you get to a point where
here's the problem with it, Yusef. You might be a type that they like. There are many men that you seem like you're a slim guy, you're not a bad looking dude, you look you're in good shape. Is sexual discipline part of it? Yes. But there are men that practice sexual discipline because they're not getting sex and they're not their type. You appear to be about anywhere from 5'11" to 6'2". I'm going to say 5'11" to 6'2".
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So how will I know that?
Taller than me. You 6'6". You are a giant to me.
Right. But see, you got to understand, based on your metrics, your facial symmetry, you're very attracted to a lot of women. You already in the genetic lottery because you're 6'2". I'm 6'5", 6'6". Ingram is 6'7", 6'8". So you are one of those top percentage men. But it's not fair to say
I
that
to why that doesn't matter.
But let me finish. But I think it does matter. You said it don't, but it does. And I'm gonna tell you why it does matter. You meet a lot of their qualities and their qualifications based on your height and also on your looks. That plays a role. You're not a bad looking dude. You're tall, and all that stuff plays a role. But then just take that and flip it to a guy that might be 5. And he might be 5'7", got legs like Danny DeVito. He got them. His legs are curved. He got rickets. You could talk about this and that all you want to.
Like my brother.
His chances of getting
he got more women than I did.
Okay, all right.
I learned it from him.
Okay,
I learned it from my little brother. He taught me this.
Okay,
so that's why I said I can tell you why it doesn't matter, because for a period of time I was in the same position that a lot of men are in right now. My brother, he said, listen, man. He said, look, you notice that I don't really pursue women like that. He said, I just keep my energy. He start breaking it down to me the way I'm breaking it down to some of the fellas that's listening right now who think it's bullshit. I get it because I thought so too. But I couldn't deny the fact that he was bringing women back and forth in and out the house all the damn time, and I couldn't figure it out. Being myself 6'2", being handsome, being a model looking, being slim, none of that mattered because still the women responded to the energy. So I tried it for about a month and I said, oh shit. Okay, so if I just don't masturbate, if I just stop watching porn, if I still just stop ejaculating all the time, which is what a lot of men are looking to do because they got quote unquote blue balls. If you hold that energy in, they all come and swarm. I was impressed. So I've been doing this for almost 5 years now, long enough to know the difference and long enough to have been in a drought to see the difference. So there's a compare and contrast. It wasn't always like this.
Right. Okay.
So I understand the difference. That's why I can speak from both sides of the spectrum. It's not just, it's always been this way. I discovered it when I was in high school. Didn't know that's what it was because there was a period of time when I just didn't have time to do any of those things. So I didn't have time to think about sex and all that. It just started happening. Women who put me in the friend zone, quote unquote, women who was chasing other guys started pursuing me. And I was the nerd. I didn't know what it was. So for a period of time, I started seeking it. Then I started getting out of control. I started looking for it. I started releasing a lot. And then my brother, after about 8 years of going back and forth, was like, what's going on? I used to have it. I had the mojo back when I was in 11th grade, 12th grade. What happened? Then my brother sat me down. And then it's been 5 years since. So he pretty much got me back on track. So I'll always be grateful for that. But I had to take the chance and see for myself, okay, well, maybe he's full of shit. Maybe it's more to it than that. I'm telling you, it's really, that is the foundation. And a lot of men are lacking that foundation. If they can sit with those blue balls and actually deal with that morning erection every day in the morning instead of trying to get off all the time, they hold that energy. It's that aura. It's the presence. That's what they respond to. And they all do it. Black, white, Latino, nines, dimes, tens, ugly women, lives. I mean, everything. It gets to the point where you just don't have time to entertain all of them. But that's the irony of it, is you trying to look for that in women, is you trying to get that. And so you go outside the country to get that. And then you end up back in the same place you are before. You're drained, you're tired, you don't have the motivation, energy to do anything. You have no other real purpose other than women. And that's exactly what they run away from. But the guys who are the jailbirds, the ones who don't give a shit about them, the ones, the poogies and ray-rays, that's their attitude. And it's because they're not pressed for it. That's the secret. It's not because of their behavior. Women, if they had a choice, they would prefer men like everyone on this panel and everyone who's listening to this chat. They prefer us, those who are stable-minded, who don't have a record, who don't have all these baby daddies and baby mamas and kids all over the place. But still, women intrinsically respond to this, and they have no choice to. It's kind of scary, actually, when you see it. As often as I've seen it every single day, I'm tired of it. Like I go out and I dress down. That doesn't even work. So even the way I dress, it's like, yeah, it adds to it. Yeah, my height adds to it. Sure, I have certain genetical differences that give me the added oomph, but it's more like icing on the cake. It's not the cake itself. And a lot of men are looking for things outside of themselves, and that they're looking for that companionship but you have to find it within yourself. And when you do, then you start preserving that energy. You start valuing yourself more. You stop releasing your seed as much, and you get some places. And then the women start coming, and it's just like, oh, I got it. And it's like, okay, all right, now I need a break. Now they start hitting on you. They start doing inappropriate things everywhere you go. They're working behind the counter, and people looking at you, staring. It starts getting a little embarrassing at their time. It's fun, but then you start realizing, well, is this what it's really about? But you keep that energy long enough, you realize that there's much more to it than that. It's more so about that man and his aura, his presence, his energy, and preserving it. You start to appreciate it more. That's valuing oneself. That's self-esteem. And that, to me, is the true masculinity that we are not talking about. That's the conversation. I know I kind of derailed the conversation a bit, but that is the source of it. It's difficult to do this. It's very difficult because you have to get used to holding that energy and doing something more productive other than thinking about women all day, traveling outside the country for ass. Think about that. You're not doing that to learn language.
But here's a misnomer. Here's a misnomer for that. People. It's like
I
people
appreciate
try
you
to
letting me rock.
Oh yeah, no doubt, man. People try to. I believe as long as you're respectful, you've been respectful. But people always listen. My logic is this: we always assume that all men that travel abroad are going abroad for sex. And if they are, that's their business. That's their business. I ain't got nothing to do with that. That's between them and God. But it seems like to me, it's almost like, I do agree with you that level of sexual discipline does play a role, and perhaps there could be a science behind it. I don't know. But I do know that men need sex as part of their body. They need to have it. They need to have a healthy release. I do agree with you that the overusage of it, like you said, the masturbation and the indulgence in women can be a detriment. But men sitting back, letting, having semen retention, or what some call no fapping, or whatever.
I know it sounds crazy.
I think it has some merit, but
that's where the energy I'm getting coming from. This power, this energy, this aggression, this assertiveness. That's where that comes from. That's literally what women respond to, and that's what's causing other men. I know I can't see their faces, but I know that's what they're making them go, man, this nigga. I know what they're thinking. He's crazy. I ain't doing. But I guarantee you, it's something they haven't thought about. They might have heard of it, and they're like, nah, I'm still trying to get these women. I'm just gonna go out the country. Tell you, all those problems will be fixed, and you'll start to get a lot of that love.
But here's I disagree with that.
He makes some very good points.
He makes some good points, right?
In terms of valuing yourself.
I agree with that. Yes, sir.
Putting the work into yourself. I 1000% agree with that. But the reality of your life is this: the typical American modern woman has the spirit of the feminist ones have the spirit of a hyena. You can control them, you can manipulate them, you can manage them, and all the stuff you say is correct about focusing on yourself. But the reality is this: in different countries, women are raised to respect men.
Yes,
and they're not empowered by the government. So those men are a part of their survival because they're not getting government sponsorship or government funding. Most men, reasonable men, masculine men, disciplined men, like the one you talk about, we all desire one thing, and that is to live in peace. To live in peace. Could I have a woman here and keep her in check, one of these modern women? But every 2-3 times a week, I have to check her. I am not checking women 2-3 times a week.
Right.
If I'm a capitalist, it's about empowerment. A powerful man, when I go to a store to buy something, and if they don't treat me with the respect I want, I don't try and no flap, not have whatever. I just go somewhere else. That's power.
Right.
Power is options as a man. So if a man wants to go overseas and explore other options, that comes from a position of power, not weaknesses, because he's put himself in a position where he can afford that, where he has the power to do that, and where he exercises his options, which is power. Options is power. Scarcity is a lack of power. And what I'm saying to you is that my job is not to raise grown women. Either you what I want, or your ass is gone.
Right.
I ain't gonna play games with you. You're either the woman I want or your ass is gone. Now, could I sit around you and have sex with low frequency women all day long? That's a complete waste of time.
Right.
Am I gonna go without sex? Hell no. I will be viciously, vigorously pounding them and enjoying them because life is short. I don't know when I turn that I turned that corner in my car. The last time I turned that corner in my life, I can run into a goddamn tractor trailer. So I'm going to enjoy it. But I'm not going to take no modern woman serious. I'll be like, hey, be feet. But when I see guys go overseas, what I see is power. Because they can easily buy that stuff around the corner here in America. So they're going overseas not just because of the sex, it's because of the respect. And this culture does not respect masculinity.
That's a good point. Right.
And I'm not trying to school grown ass women. If you're not what I want, I just get something else.
No doubt. Hold your point, Ingram. Because hold your point, guys. I like something that TD Hutch said, but let me sell out the Passport Crypto game. Shout out to Blue Collar Brother for that $5 super sticker. Thank you, brother. There's some guys that disagree with Brother Yosef. I think Yosef got some good points. I think it's very theoretically powerful. He makes some excellent points.
It's theory. I wouldn't say
well, it might be experience for you, but here's the caveat to that. Like TD Hutch said, with that logic, married men in sexless marriage should be getting peace leave thrown at them by them, including their wife. And that's why I say it's more nuanced than that. In theory, it makes a lot of sense. And perhaps it does apply to you, but every control have different outcomes. Every control got a different outcome. What did this brother say? KP for KC5 say he don't agree. That's fine. That's why we have these conversations.
He makes good points.
Who makes some good points? You talking about Yusef?
Yeah, no, yeah, brother. Yusef makes some good point, but it's just
I agree with you. I
just don't agree with
right
the idea that it's all because of our masculinity, or maybe we're not practicing our discipline enough. It's not. These guys are practicing discipline way too damn much. In fact, many married men are not even getting laid. The fact
fellas, I'm gonna say a real quick short story that happened in my early recovery. Sure, I was sponsoring folks, and then when I was doing a whole lot of undisciplined sexual behavior, porn and other women, and then I ran to my sponsor and I straight told him, I straight told my sponsor, I don't have to go to no meetings no more. I don't have to sponsor nobody no more. In other words, it got to a place where you know, it's like I don't see a relapse coming. So what he did, he gave me some of this work I got on this board, took me back into the sex inventory, and it allowed me to see that, you know, I wasn't like toxic. It was like I had undisciplined behavior, and then I had selfish behavior for the women I did want. Meaning that you know, the ones I wasn't having sex with, they was getting all of the financial benefits, and the ones that I did have sex with, they wasn't getting none of that. That's how twisted it was. But at the same time, I did not want to sponsor nobody. I had all my thoughts and mind day in and day out. That is like I switch addiction in the midst of being in recovery. So what I did what Yusef mentioned. I stayed celibate. I did the work he gave me for about 9 months, and then I was tripping because I was getting some attention, but I didn't know how to handle it. So you know, that's the only difference. I didn't know how to handle it. So I said, "Damn, I'm gonna come out of it."
All right, okay. Well, that's okay, brother Ian. What's your take on this, brother? Go ahead.
I got a co-signer, man.
Brother Ian, go ahead. The whole concept of a simp surfer, hold tight, Ian, because every time men come together, you know, you got the simp surfers on the internet. They're saying,
these men are coming together. They must be zombies. Who hurt these petty fools? Their mama is black. Who hurt them? They must be gay. I must go cause confusion.
Yeah, the simp surfer. Brother
man,
Ian.
You got a spammer in your chat, man.
Ian, so how would you like to add to the conversation, Brother Ian? Go ahead, man. Chop it up for us, brother.
Yeah, like what you said, is a simp surfing is a threat to male empowerment. So I think that's part of the problem when we talk about masculinity, and the brother is very much limited in his scope about what masculinity is, because masculinity is not just how you deal directly with women. It also becomes how you're able to empower yourself to control a society, to control a community. Now, say I'm not really interested in bragging about being able to dominate a chick one-on-one. You know what I'm saying? Either way, that ain't shit. You know, and saying for a man to go around bragging that he can dominate a chick, I don't think that's masculine at all, right? But you tell me how you're able to dominate a whole swath of chicks, and you're able to change and dominate the social structures that are set in place, then I'll call you a man. Because manhood is just not, again, just about how you interact physically. It's also about how you have been able to institute your program and institute your will upon a greater area, not just one woman. And especially if you're talking about you're a man, you have to look at about how are you able to help other men. You know, you're not helping other men by individually having them dominate females. That's not how that works. What you need to do is be able to dominate the society, dominate the culture. Then I'll believe that you're a man when you're able to do that. Not until then.
But does it matter what you think a man is, or does it matter who you end up procreating with? I mean, who determines what a man is? Is it the man himself? Because it's not so much about just trying to get women. It's really about dominating oneself. So when I speak of domination, it's because of oneself. It just so happens that the topic is about women. So I just reference into women. But the secret is dominating oneself. And in that domination of oneself, other people fall in line, and there's no domination required of society, of women, of men, of anybody. People naturally fall in line, and they don't even understand how or why. They just see something about you. They call it the it factor or whatever. They call it the je ne sais quoi, as they call it. It's those people that we call stars. That's where they get it from.
A person that ain't ate, right, that's homeless out on the street, that ain't eating shit, he don't give a fuck about your it factor. That nigga saying, yo, if either you can feed me or you can't. That's what I'm talking about. You have this limited idea. I'm not trying to judge with manhood, but I'm gonna tell you a limitation of manhood is not manhood at all. And again, I'm not talking about no fucking it factor. When a real deal comes down to it, if a chick needs to eat and you can't provide that shit, don't tell me about no it factor, right? That's not real life. And in no time in the history of man is the it factor been able to dominate the world. It's been about guns and steel. You understand what I'm saying? Don't tell me about no it factor. And you cannot create guns and you cannot dominate with guns and steel or have a social dominance through no it factor. You have to have intelligence, you have to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. And you have to be able to implement that whether you have the it factor or not. Because a real man, he can come to work whether he has the it factor or not. That's really what I call a man, right? A man who can just get up out the bed, right, without preparation and can do his damn thing. Because life doesn't always afford you the ability to prepare yourself, right? Unless you're in a monastery, unless you're practicing kung fu somewhere in a dojo, right? A real man is like Kim said, I'm gonna take things as they are and how they come. He might not always have time to prepare. So this idea of constant preparation, that's not about manhood, because that's not real life.
Well, one of the things.
Go ahead.
One of the things I think people misunderstand is about, like, if a young man came to me and he asked me how to talk to women, you know, the first thing I say, okay, let's go. You're going to do a 5-day fast where you're not going to eat anything for 5 days, right? Just water, just some electrolytes with some magnesium, some potassium. Let's see how strong you are. Can you last 5 days without eating? Okay. See, what I'm teaching him is indifference and discipline and self-control. And the power of women is just the ability, it's indifference. There's no secret to it. The ability to walk away. So we in the manosphere, we already have these men. We're building men and we're building manhood. You see, even some of the channels over there, we talk about building your business, building yourself as a man, developing your body. I've walked 6.2 miles already today. I'm 47 years old.
Right, I'm about to do it in a minute.
6.2 miles. I did another 10 hills. I went to the gym and lifted weights on my upper body already. So the men are putting in the work already. The issue is not with the men. The problem is with the culture. We keep trying to take away from the culture. The average hardworking black men, which like 65%, 66% in the middle class, is not respected by the black community. In other countries, an honorable, hardworking men don't have to have all this game, all this whatever, because women are not empowered by the government. They're raised to respect men. So an honorable, hardworking man is a treasure because they don't have government benefits to fall back on. Right. So they're going to snatch him up fast.
Right.
Safety, protection. So they don't. All this game stuff is off the table, which is why these men go overseas. It's just capitalism. It has nothing to do with manliness or weakness or strength. It's just business. The women over there treat regular, hardworking, honorable men better because they're a necessity for survival. It's a survival thing. So something that you value for your survival, you're going to treasure it and protect it. Right. Over here, they value their careers, the government, and everything else for their survival. Right. That's why they go overseas, because they've never been treated that well before. It's just called good customer service. And if you say they're going over there to trick, maybe the tricking is better. Good customer service. It's capitalism. I don't take it personally. I don't see anything. It is not a man or weakness or strength thing. It's just a business thing.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think the relationship capitalism piece definitely plays a role. Like I said, Yusef got some good points in his argument. There's some validity in what he's saying. I just don't think it encapsulates the whole greater kaleidoscope of what men are going through. And like Ian was saying, that in a time of crisis, you can be talking about Janae Sinqua and no fapping and all that crap. A woman can always revert back to her base nature, which is survival. Women by nature are survivalists. They are insular creatures. They got to be fed. And so, like I said, there's some truth to what you're saying, but I think it's a lot more nuanced on the surface, because the problem I see a lot of times, People always talk about men going overseas messing with women. Hell, they tricking over here. You're going to pay for it anyway. You're going to either pay for it abroad, you're going to pay for it here in America. But you're still damn paying. So when people come up with that goofy concept, oh, they's going overseas tricking, I'm like, who cares? You're still paying for it. When you go spend 5 dates, and you say I'm just gonna go on dates, you're paying for it. You're not just taking her on dates just because you're being nice. You're taking her on dates with the intention of getting you some at some point. So you're still gonna pay for it. You're gonna always pay for it. Married men pay for it the most because we stuck with a wife. So right, we stuck with a wife, man. So like I said, these conversations are important. I do respect Brother Youssef. I do respect other brothers' talking points.
What were we talking about paying for it? Oh, well,
no. But what I'm saying, but my point is, people always assert Youssef that when men go overseas, they either say they're going overseas to have sex, which to me, I never understood why other men care about what other men do. Women have been doing it for years. Stella got a groove back. Old white women from England go to Jamaica using them black male bucks for sex. Women have been doing it for years. And so, but as soon as black men do it, all of a sudden they lames or they perverts and all this goofy ish. But my logic is you do what you want to do. Whatever you do is between you and God. I ain't got nothing to do with what you do with your money. But all men don't travel abroad for sex. Like Ingram was saying, some go over for relationship capitalism. They go over to get a better product. And I don't have a problem with that. The point is this: men would have to do fapping or not being so encapsulated with sex if the women were raised to honor and respect men. They would have a healthy respect or have a level of trust and respect for men that men can just be their natural selves. I was in Brazil. I'm being in the movie called Frustrated 3. Men are just men. They just be their natural selves. Average looking guys are dealing with fine women because there's average guys. But now, you got over 33% of men that are virgins, and sadly, some of those men probably are messing up their masculine energy by masturbating, which I can agree with that. But also it's counterintuitive because those same said men are decent men that are average, but because they can't get sex, it's like a dichotomy. I'm not getting sex, therefore I'm not practicing fapping, therefore I'm masturbating. But however, if I was in a country where women honor average guys, I would just have to be myself, and I could get my purse by getting a decent woman to honor and respect me, and I don't have to go do all the shenanigans. Ian, anything else you want to add to the conversation, man, about simp surfing? Anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah. Because you see, back in the day, I just want to wake that up. Back in the day, right? So in this day and time, it's all about preparation and having the right environment and this and that or whatever. See, but back in the day, a real man, he didn't have all that. He got up out the bed and had to deal with what it took, and he did it with a high level, whether he was prepared or not. But here's the thing, though. Equally so, you have to have women like that. You have to have women who are ready, who can get up right out their bed and be feminine. And that's not what's happening now. I'm not interested in trying to train a whole generation of females. These females need to be able to get up out of the bed, whether she's on the wrong side or the right side. She need to be able to get up out the bed and do right by men. And again, and if that is not your goal as a man, I'm trying to figure out how you're a man when you limit your goal as to not being able to have total control. I'm talking about into the social structure, into that level of institution, right? Because again, from what I know of the history of man, that is what man leads to. Man leads to building the pyramids and being able to control and dominate societies and cultures and civilizations.
Interesting. Okay. I respect this perspective for sure. I'm just always focused on controlling myself and power from within. Power from within controls power from without. But the problem is that people are looking for the power outside of themselves to dominate and or control. Oh, I can't control this. I can't do this. I'm frustrated. So now I must go X, Y, Z. I'm not saying that men shouldn't do it, that they can't do it, or that they can do whatever they want. I mean, I'm certainly young, but it's just it's deeper than just looking to just get women and women. And I understand a man's desire to want women. I get it. But in that desire, it's like if you really want money badly enough, those who typically want it the most are usually the ones who are the brokest or the most homeless. And I can even speak for myself. Just let that shit go and just focus on things and getting the work done. And you realize a lot of it is a mental game. A lot of it is an internal game. And then the money starts to come. So it is so when you're dealing with women, actually more so, if anything. And they are a direct reflection of us because women can only respond to who we are. So when we want to go outside of the country, we're looking for a higher bar to limbo under. And we want to avoid the work that we're doing ourselves. I'm not saying that men shouldn't go outside the country to experience other types of women in the different ways that they've been raised and so forth. But I'm just saying, these women, you can bring out a lot of the femininity and submission that a lot of men are looking for from power. Now, should they have it by themselves automatically without a man being that way? Yes, I agree they should. And that's lacking in this country. But the only way to counteract that, the best way, is to deal with oneself. And I think it's better to do that first, to do that work first. And it's very simple work. And then go outside the country and then you kind of do your thing, because now you're complete within yourself. You don't need to have sex. You don't need to do any of that. And as a result, it just comes to you. And the most beautiful
I agree with that. I agree with that. I agree with that. I do agree with that.
They pay me.
He makes the problem is he's saying a lot of valid things. He makes a lot of sense. He's saying things that make a lot of sense, but he's missing the point. The men that are in these spaces, this is not a space for dusties. Men that are in this, I'm retired. So men that are in this space already built themselves or are on their way to building themselves. Most of you got guys engineering, you got guys in all kinds of professional degrees, and they've really put a lot of work into building themselves.
Right.
Especially the manosphere. Guys, they're very, very particular about digging into guys, about being on their purpose, getting themselves together. What happens is this, okay? I get what you're saying. I am not nobody's daddy. I don't raise either you the woman I want to be, or you're like, okay, I go back to capitalism again. If I go to a business and the service and the food sucks, I don't sit around there trying to talk them or correct them or get them on the pathway to good cooking. I jump in my car, I reverse out the driveway, and I go somewhere else where the performances suck. So if I raise a daughter and she's not the woman that could add value to a man's life and make her a wife, make him a good wife, it's not his job to masculine up and be on his purpose and square her away and make her a good wife. Mm-hmm. I'm serving that man trash. So at the end of the day, that man has to this is his own empowerment. The stuff you're talking about, that extends to the globe. So if I get bad service, I'm going to go where the service is good. That's power. That's how you exercise inner power. Mm-hmm. You exercise inner power by exercising power over yourself first, like I agree with you, but also power in your options and I don't raise grown women. Could I be here every day having sex with women every day? Yes. I choose not to do that life because of discipline. But if a man goes overseas, he's going overseas because there's one thing that all reasonable, rational, self-built men that build themselves up and on their purpose value. That is to live in peace. Right. And that's coming from a guy who's been married, who's been divorced, who's cohabitated. I don't know how old you are, Yusef. I've raised 3 boys now. So I understand the importance of peace. That's why I changed my title to The Peaceful Life. The reality of life is this. The modern women in America are bad options for men. Bad product. You go and get a better product. And if you find same behaviors in that product overseas, you say, okay, well, the product's no good. But when you work hard and you put your stuff together, you would like to enjoy good quality women. When what I'm not doing is raising nobody's children. That's their daddy and mama's job.
I totally agree. I do believe in the internal work first and making sure you have discipline and you're not going into another ecosystem, being a simp surfer, because simp surfing is not just men being goofy and coming to men's space trying to cause chaos, but simp surfing also is going abroad and they're doing this.
Why are you destroying our planet?
I have no choice.
Yeah, they all in Brazil.
Man, you something else.
They all.
Hey, he picked a fine, feminine, and fit woman though.
KC5. Go ahead, dog. Go ahead, man.
Something else. Hey, man. Oh, man. Salute to the panel. Salute to the chat, man. I just think it's hard for the brother to see the blind spot that he's leaving there, because the blind spot is this: is we're watching Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, all these other nationalities come in working as dishwashers, people that cut our lawns.
Right.
They making 20, 30,000.
Right.
And they automatically, in their culture, they automatically get submission or cooperation, however you want to say it. They get that.
Right.
My man come home from 5 days working every week. His plate is ready. Boom, boom, boom. He's done. Now, I watched my grandfather get that treatment, right? And the thing about it is this. I'm gonna tell this to Yosef. The thing about it is this, Yosef, is what I've seen is that what black men are saying is we're no longer going to do the stepdaddy program because that's not appreciated. You get nothing for it. You get no benefits from it. And I'm gonna give you a story. So my grandfather marries my grandmother. The only grandfather I know. My biological grandfather had already passed away, left my grandmother, whatever. This man took over the house of 12 children. When this man died, they tried to minimize his contribution to that house. He hasn't been gone over 5 years, but they tried to minimize his contribution. Some of the kids did. Not my grandmother. Some of the kids did. So psychologically, that showed me something. That no matter what a black man does, when he does it, he will never be appreciated. So in American culture, you're minimized to the point where now they're even writing your superheroes as women. And the brothers is eating it up.
Right. I agree with that.
Even so, the women is strong, independent, and they warriors. And the men is just sitting back at home watching them fight.
Right.
So they've taken this thing all the way left, and they told the men, we don't need you. So the men are like, okay, well, since LeBron, quote unquote, is the prototype, like as a black person, a black male athlete, as a black man, he's a prototype. So when a black man goes to another country, guess what he gets? All the women falling at his feet. And all those women falling in line because they know he's a man.
He's a man, right.
And black culture and gynocentric culture, you're not a man. And see, black culture is pretty much almost full-blown white supremacist, if you really think about it. Because a black feminist is the arm of white supremacy.
Right.
Because if you really pay close attention to what they're talking about and what they're doing, they never want to uplift the boys to be men, as Dr. King and them walked those streets and said, we are men, right? They want to push the men back to being boys. The only men that are accepted in gynocentric culture are gay men. That's the only men that are accepted. Everybody else is pushed to the side. You no longer exist in this space. We cannot hear your voice, whether you be even Barack. Look at Barack. The only president that you know that this woman was kind of pushed up and out front and center. I don't even remember Ivanka Trump walking out. I don't even remember her doing anything. But when you seen Obama, they made sure to maximize his wife. And they made sure that he gave all praise due to Michelle.
Right.
So psychologically, brothers have been done so wrong in this country that now that they look elsewhere, everybody says, well, why are you looking elsewhere? And I'm married to a black woman. I got a black wife, black kids, the whole nine.
Right.
But my wife was socialized by her grandmother. Her mother didn't do the work. Her grandmother told her how to cook, clean, the whole nine. My wife and her mom is two totally different people. And I know why her mom is single and her mom will not face their reality. See, that's what we're dealing with. So the culture is that. That's what the culture is in Black America. And that's what it is, and that's what it's going to be until it dies off. And the men can marry who they want because the men are the community. There's no community without men. The men establish that because the men is going to establish the standards, the orders, and the procedure. The women is going to go by the wayside because they're doing it right now. They're showing you. They go for every agenda that they put on TV. That's it.
Damn.
Hold on. Shout out to a man, Top Gun, man. It's a deal, right? Shout out to Top Gun. I missed Top Gun. I didn't see Top Gun today, guys. I love the insight, man. I love the insight from Ian, KPC5. I love also Brother Youssef, because I do believe that people should have the right to voice and give another perspective. We don't want to create echo chambers. So
I agree with some. I agree with some of what he said. I just don't agree with it all. Go ahead.
Right.
We all do. I just don't think you realize that the brothers have already done the work.
Right.
The average black man that's hardworking in America. We're not talking about the 20% or 10% of men that are creating all the problems in the community. And like the brothers say, the only men that the black community respect now is men from the alphabet community and the guys like Future and Raekwon, Man, Pookie, and whatever else. And and that's fine, because at the end of the day, that represents failure. Getting in women's pants is not the challenge. Living in peace is the challenge.
Right.
Men being rewarded for their value. I think a hardworking young. I have 2 boys now. One just got out of college. The other one's about to finish college. And I would like those boys to get a woman that's a virgin if they want to get married. They shouldn't be married to a woman with 100 bodies and they have to man up themselves to be this Superman, to have a quality woman in their life. That's not the purpose of them. They're working on themselves. They're building themselves as men. They're working on their future. But at the end of that rainbow, they should be rewarded with a quality woman if they so choose. They shouldn't have to pick from the women that have been ran through by Pookie, Ray, Man, or the men. I'll be honest with you, even the men like me probably ran through them. I'm part of the problem. I admit I've been a part of the problem. That's what I'm saying. If you say Pookie, Ray were average superhero, I'm the superhero of the superhero. I've been in those dorms. I've played, college and professional level basketball. I know what the women are getting pounded out of those. I was a part of it. Some of it I have to pray about. But at the end of the day, you're talking to the guy that used to be that guy. And what I'm telling you is those women ain't worth a damn. If you're going to get a quality woman that's raised to be a traditional woman, if you put in all the work in yourself, not about women, it's about quality and value. That's what the conversation is lost. We're beyond getting women and getting laid. We're doing with living in peace.
And you know what, Ingram, you're right. Being a virgin alone is not important. You said something that was very critical. Being a traditional woman, because I think you've dealt with women that were chaste or had low bodies that were virgins, but they weren't traditional. It got to be tied in together. She had to be traditional and a chaste woman, not just one, because you can have a chaste woman, but she's not traditional. Or you can have a woman that's traditional, but she haven't been chaste. Ideally, you want to have both encapsulated in together. Guys, it's about 3 o'clock. This has been an excellent stream, man. We gotta be like Galactus and kill the simp surfer. Simp surfing is a detriment to male empowerment. But before we sign off, guys, I'm starting with Brother Youssef. We're starting off with Ingram in less than 2 minutes. Make it 2 minutes. I got to go walk. I got to get my 6 miles into Ingram, because us tall guys, man, we got to keep our legs and our heart rate up. But starting with brother Ingram, real quick, I'm going to ask you this question, because if I can find it, because I got all these tools in my toolbox. But this is the part of the show, guys, where we find.
This is the part of the show where we find solutions.
All right, so to eradicate simp surfing, we got to continue, in my opinion, to band together as men and do what's best for us. In less than 1 minute, Ingram, what are the solutions moving forward in 1 minute?
Well, I always say many times that nobody takes care of you like you. The solution is very simple. Do not participate in anything that does not benefit you as a man. If don't let anybody shame you into accept. It's all about men having standards, men being unapologetically masculine, men developing themselves and working on themselves and becoming the best version of themselves they are. But nobody should make you take anything that is undeserving of you by shaming you to be this superhero man that most men cannot even measure up to. And the whole idea is this: you have to be in a position of power. And that's why I developed the term relationship capitalism. You're not nobody's mommy, nobody's daddy. You're not trying to teach anybody how to be a better woman. All that's rubbish. Either you are what you are, or you don't deal with them. We're not babysitting people anymore. Men have worked hard. You have a right to enjoy the spoils of your labor and the benefits that come with it in terms of traveling anywhere, getting the best value in a woman that you should get.
No doubt. Respect. I agree with you 1,000%. Excellent. England, and I'll peace and man, reach out to you in a few minutes, man, once we get out the stream. When I go walking, we'll chop it up in the background, man. Getting ready for the show tonight with Dre from Love Crossing Borders and another special guest talking about the power of male empowerment as it relates to travel. And synonymous to what Peaceful Likes talk about is relationship capitalism. I think it's a very powerful concept because there appears to be a lot of relationship inflation. Men selling for mediocrity when they should be demanding the best. So, brother, Joe Youssef, real quick, in less than 1 minute, because I have to go. What are the solutions? Maybe you said it already, but what are the solutions moving forward? And under 1 minute, because I have to go.
Well, yeah, just to basically reiterate what I said earlier. I know Peaceful Life said that, no man should feel like he has to be a superhero, but I completely disagree with that.
Okay.
Being a superhero for yourself is numero uno. A man should always strive to be the absolute best version of himself, to be that Silver Surfer who gets questioned by the woman with Google eyes, with, why are you destroying the world? I have no choice. You have to have that kind of power, and I think that's good to have. You want to be the Thanos who snaps his finger and makes shit happen. So why not? Strive for it, go for it. And it starts with that energy, man. It's energy. When talking about accomplishments and getting your goals and getting your life in order and all that, every man can have all the spoils of the world. That's cool. You can have it all. But energy at the end of the day is just what not just women, but with men and children.
Get ready to turn it off, MC.
Everyone responds to that type of energy. So, and there's a level of peace and contentment that comes with that. And a lot of things that you want in life comes about to your life when you carry that kind of power, that kind of energy. And it does take discipline. I understand why a lot of men don't want to do it, and I get it. I know it's difficult, and it's like, well, why should I have to do all this? I just want to go and just do my thing. Do your thing. But it does come with a price. It comes with a consequence. And the price that we pay is the energy that we expel.
Right. Yeah, we talked about it. And like I said, we believe the energy definitely is a major component of it. I just don't think it encapsulates it all. But I do respect you, brother, and respect your position. Brother Ian, in less than 1 minute, what are the solutions moving forward? I have to go. I got to get off the stream. I got to go walking and get ready for the show tonight. Thank you.
I think what it is again is unfortunately in terms of that narrative about dominating yourself. Listen, the goal, the bar is too low, right? So what I'm saying is I'm not interested in for a chick to respond. So if I've developed myself to the fullest of my capacity, I'm expecting this chick to be a superwoman. You know what I'm saying? I'm not looking for the basics from a female. I'm looking for excellence. So in those cases where you're talking about doing this to get a response, that's low. That's a low level bar. You know what I'm saying? For me, what I'm looking for the fact that this woman, apart from me, she's going to represent Black masculinity, to its highest. I'm talking about with or without me. I don't want her just to bow down to me. I want her to make sure that she caters to every Black man she sees because they're a reflection of me. I'm not buying this, okay, in the bedroom and then in secret. You know what I'm saying? She can put on a show and be feminine. No, I want her to be that all the time. I want her to be a shining light and a shining example to my manhood everywhere she goes, and that she's going to represent that. And you can't do that just by talking about, okay, you got that it factor, because she's not always going to be around you. She needs to have something instilled within herself, and that's not not done by you. That's done through a collective. And that collective, again, has to demand submission, and not just submission on an individual basis, but also on a collective basis where our women are going out front. You know what I'm saying? If they are by themselves and they're representing and says, okay, thanks be to my man. We say thanks be to God, but she's gonna say thanks be to my man. There go I.
So you, and I agree with. So it sounds to me you're saying that the man does play a role, but also the community, other good women, and also everyone else, laws and whatever holding her accountable as well. It's just not the man itself that's a part of it, but it's more nuanced than that. Is that fair to say?
That is so.
Yes, sir, no doubt. MC Recover, I gotta go, man. If you got anything else to say, under 1 minute, I gotta go.
Yeah, but like what I mentioned earlier, going back into the 4th step work, that sex inventory, what I learned at the end of result, it wasn't that I was addicted to sex. It was that I was inconsiderate and real foolish within there. So I learned how to be more considerate to myself and others. So I needed that 9-month break to get away from, like earlier in the show, I typed in that you know, simps will like double cross you, dirty Mac and stuff like that, and that allowed me to not to be so much simpish or beta, because women in recovery would tell me about their relationships, and I found myself not trying to dirty Mac myself in. Do you know, I'm talking about so and so hits me, so and so talks real crazy to me, and then in my head, psychologically, for a simp, it would be good timing for me to jump in, and I saw myself not react like that. Right. So you know, that was a beautiful thing to see.
No doubt, no doubt. But listen, guys, I love you guys. I appreciate brother Ian, brother Youssef, brother MC Recovery, always holding it down, man. I appreciate it. We're gonna have a fire show on tonight. We got one on tomorrow, guys. You guys gonna love the one on tomorrow. Got another. I'm telling you, man, I'm killing the game, man. I'm like the good version of the Simp Surfing. My alter ego.
Add me to that moderator piece if you can.
Yeah. I thought I did, Ian. I thought I added you. I didn't add you.
No, I went down there and I was posting some stuff. I didn't see.
Look at MC Recovery. Look just like you. So what I gotta do me a favor, man. I'm gonna add you and XL Pro. I gotta get you. XL Pro sent me his YouTube information. If you can send me your YouTube information, send it to me in the Facebook group, and then I give you a wrench and I give XL Pro a wrench, because I do need some more moderators, man. I need some more moderators. You know, Tim Howard and Gil come do a lot, but I need some consistent brothers to help me on the stream, man, because I can't do it by myself, man. And we need folks to kick these trolls out when they get out of line, man. But I appreciate it, brother Ian, for everything you do, brother Youssef. Guys, we're gonna sign off. Let's get ready for another fire show tonight, man. So guys, signing off, and that's on my
Yeah, we changed on the walls on my mom. Maybe bro, kill some of my mom, bro. They back.
That's on my marking. That's on my marking. That's on my marking.
That's all my mama, guys. Anyway, guys, we about to sign off. It's been a good one. We got something for you guys on tonight. Love you, brothers. And guys, we'll be signing off. Yeah, TD Hutch, you could be a moderator too. TD Hutch. TD Hutch, just send me your information. Send me your information, TD Hutch, and you can definitely be a moderator, brother. I appreciate you guys coming in for me and coming through. And guys, we are about to sign off. And in the meantime, don't be a simp surfing. Also, guys, hit this algorithm, because the robot got All right, guys, we signing off, and it's been a good one. Let's go.
Got the itch in my palm. My girl, she know she the one. I put the ice on her hand. I put some ice on her arm. See me shining in the light. Know you found me in the dark. Talking how you wanna leave. Girl, you made this far. Taking trips overseas. No, I won't be long. We came up from the weeds. Now it's top floor. All these big gets on her wrist. VVS is on her neck. Make it spinning, I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down broke, now we rich. Spend it on a let it spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her, cause she all mine. Spend it on a challenge, cause she all mine. There for my first cake, then we hit 100K. $500,000 on the way, then $1 million on the way. Eating good full plates, eating good, say grace. Eat her up, get thanks. She got cake birthday. I can't waste no way, I can't waste no play. My girl, whoa, something like the baddest chick. My girl, whoa, whoa, came from the rags to rich. Hit the road running, I had to tell her I had to get it. She understood, but she spoiled, so when she get mad, she dip. All these big gas on her wrist, VVS's on her neck. Make it spin and I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down road, now we rich. Spend it on a let it spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her, cause she all mine. Spend it on a challenge, cause she all mine. All these big gas on her wrist, VVS is on her neck. Make it spin and I don't stress. When I make it stretch. Double back to back then. Down road, now we rich. Spend it on a let it spin. Down with me to the end. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my best friend. I'ma spend it on her, cause she all mine. All these big gas on her wrist, VVS is on her neck. Make it spin and I don't stress. Spend it on a challenge, cause she all mine. That my best friend. That my best friend. That my